Joe, good to see you. How you doing, brother? Evening. Pablo, good to see you as well. How you doing, brother? How you been? Comatose, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Anna, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Lena, good to see you as well. How you doing? How's today been, Miles? It's been great. Today has been an amazing day, to be fairly honest. Yeah, today has been an amazing day. Ian, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? It's Movember. Yep, it definitely is. I mean, the market is, it's exceptionally healthy. Let's just be honest with ourselves. But XRP is looking much more healthier than the rest. Good night, William. Good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been, William? Evening, Miles and CMF. Good to see you as well. How you doing, JD? How you been? Hi, Miles. Hope you're well. Yama, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Hi, Miles. Nice day. G, good to see you as well. How you doing? Yep, perfect day. Dennis, good to see you as well. How you doing, brother? How you been? So today we have a mixture of news to go through. We're going to go in and out of Ripple news on tonight's live because there's quite a bit of Ripple news to go through. A lot of things are happening that's exceptionally positive for Ripple. I'm all ears. Fill me in, Niles. Let's go, Lena. What's up with XRP? Miles heard something about Robinhood effects or whatever. Yeah, we're going to go through a lot of XRP news today. Good evening, Professor Miles and CMF family. Good to see you all, Frankie, brother. How you doing? What's up, Miles? What's up, CMF? Kerry, good to see you all. How you doing? How you been, brother? So let me give you a breakdown of what we're going to go through essentially on today's episode. This is episode 204 of the CMF Live, which is incredible. 204 episode 1 right now. Booyaka. Gary's gone soon. Let's go, funky brother. I'm ready for some inside information. I need to do some insider trading. Let's go, Kerry. Evening, Miles of CMF. Manny, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been, Manny? How's things? There's some funds I need to recover. Let's go, Kerry. I'm good, brother. Thanks for asking. Let's go, William. Now, let me give you a breakdown of what we're going to be going through on tonight's live on episode 204 of the CMF Live. Which is incredible that we've reached episode 204 right now. What up, Miles and family? Ray, good to see you as well, brother. How you doing? How you been? Stormy, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? On tonight's episode of the CMF Live, we're going to go through these news topics. We're going to be talking about Tether essentially printing more USDT, which is a positive for the crypto space. Then we're going to be talking about Bitwise essentially filing in one of the biggest essentially ETFs you could possibly see. Now, Grayscale did a large cap ETF filing as well. Bitwise is doing the same scenario, and I'll explain what the crypto projects are inside that as well. Then we're going to be talking about essentially Bitcoin ETFs and $5 billion. I'll explain what I mean by that once we get to that news. Then we're going to be talking about Gary Gensler resigning possibly. Then we're going to go for the news topic of the CFTC chairman coming out and throwing dirt on Gary Gensler and essentially saying that he doesn't want to, essentially handle Gary Gensler's mess. This is coming from this former CFTC chairman. He's came out of nowhere, tweeted out saying that he doesn't want to handle Gary Gensler's mess. Then we're going to be talking about on tonight's live regarding the matters of the SEC being sued by 18 US states. Then we're going to talk about Franklin Templeton expanding their tokenized funds on tonight's live. Then we're going to go through the topic of the Fed chairman, Jerome Powell, and his recent comments on the market space. Then we're going to be talking about on tonight's live regarding an ex-Valkyrie CEO investing into a particular crypto project. I'll reveal what the crypto project is once we get to that news. Then we're going to be talking about Trump's essentially crypto project, the WLFY project, and essentially what backbone they've chosen for their project to move forward with. And then we're going to be talking about essentially Senator Cynthia Luminous, essentially suggesting the idea of selling gold from the United States essentially and Treasury to buy Bitcoin instead as a replacement. Then we're going to be talking about a news topic on Tether, essentially introducing a real-world asset tokenization platform. And then we're going to go through the topic of VanEck, essentially projections on Bitcoin's price points, a new report that's came out of VanEck. Then we're going to go through the news topic of Pennsylvania proposing a Bitcoin reserve. And then we're going to go for the news topic of the UK aiming for rules and regulations by the end of the year. The UK, the United Kingdom, is going to be coming out with essential rules and regulations by the end of the year. And then we're going to go for the news topic of the CMIC, essentially asking the United States Congress to bring some crypto regulations right now for the crypto space. We're also going to go for the news topic on tonight's live regarding a new study that's came out on what XRP's price point could possibly reach from an institution. It's a perspective from an institution. Then we're going to go for the news topic of essentially one of Europe's most established banks is thinking about introducing something on one particular chain. Once we get to that news, I'll reveal what it is. So, mixture of news to go through on tonight's live, and it's extremely all bullish. There's no bad news whatsoever. It's extremely bullish. I mean, how can we not be bullish? Gary Gensler's hints of essentially resigning from the SEC, that is incredible for the entire crypto space. But most importantly, that is incredible for the XRP community because that man is a weasel. And he needs to be fired or essentially resign, which he might be doing by himself willingly. Let's just see. So, mixture of news topics to go from tonight's live. If you're watching this for the first time ever, this is the CMF Live. It stands for Crypto Mouse Family. This is episode 204 of the CMF Live. You can watch this live show on X if you watch this on X right now, or on YouTube Live if you watch this on YouTube Live right now, every single day, 11:25 p.m. UK time onwards. And on this live, I talk about the most recent news that's happening around the world in terms of cryptocurrency, CBDCs, AI, politics, regulations, vital information for you to know about regarding the world completely transforming into a digital space. We also do Q&As on this live as well, which means if you have any questions, put it down inside the comment section. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. And the disclaimer of this live, as always, is not financial advice, not political advice, and whatever I say is only for entertainment purposes. So, welcome to the CMF Live. If you're watching this for the first time ever, and if you're a regular, let's go CMF. And honestly, I can't believe we're on episode 204, which is incredible right now. Episode 204 right now. And by the way, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone on X who's just retweeted this live. I'm getting notifications. Thanks so much to everyone on X who's retweeted this live, who's liked this live on X. And essentially put a comment down on the outside of the video as well. Thanks so much to everyone on YouTube who's watching this video right now as well, and also liking the video as well. So, liking this live as well. Before we go for the first news, which is regarding USDT, but we're going to go in and out of Ripple news on tonight's live because there's quite a lot of Ripple news to go through. So we're going to go through Tether news and then Ripple news, Bitcoin news and then Ripple news, Jerome Powell news and then Ripple news, and so on. So we're just going to go back and forward in and out of Ripple news. So let's go to the comment section first before we go straight to the first news. Good morning, Miles and CMF. Ghost Burner, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Good evening, Mr. Miles. Let's go CMF. Toby, let's go. How you doing? Morning, Miles and CMF. Shelly, good to see you as well. How you doing? Morning. Hi, brother. Camel, good to see you as well, brother. How you doing? Good evening, Miles and CMF. Orphan, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Hi, Miles and CMF. Connie, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? What's up, brother Miles and CMF? Let's go, Bill. How you doing? Good to see you as well. I'm guessing everyone saw the tweets I was sending out today. I couldn't resist sending out some of those tweets. Bullish XRP, any news on Gary's resigns? Well, we're about to go through that on tonight's live. So, as I said, we're going to go in and out of Ripple news on tonight's live because there's quite a lot of Ripple news to go through. Miles, why are the markets all down today? It's not down, like drastic down. It's just slightly down. It's just consolidating, balancing itself out before it does another leg up, to be fairly honest. Now, the first news we're going to go from tonight's live is Tether. And then we're going to go essentially, so we're going to go in and out of Ripple news. So, but the first news we're going to start off with Tether, just to get out of the way. So Tether makes waves. 8 billion USDT minted in 8 days, fueling Bitcoin's record-breaking surge. When Tether starts printing essentially money, that's a good sign. It's a bullish sign because if that money is going to be funneled into the crypto exchanges, which is essentially the purchase power for Bitcoin. Tether's USDT, the most popular stablecoin in the cryptocurrency market space, has influenced the market greatly in the past week. With additional capitalizations, essentially, the spot on-chain pointed out that Tether's minted an extra 2 billion USDT on Ethereum and Tron. Within the last 8 days, 8 billion USDT had essentially been minted. This has led to a significant increase in investments as more people try to own digital currencies, leading to Bitcoin crossing $93,000, the highest has ever reached so far. According to data provided by Spot on Chain, of the 8 billion essentially USDT issued by Tether, about 6 billion flowed directly into crypto market space. This enormous amount of liquidity has been distributed over several large cryptocurrency exchanges and wallets, turning into essentially the capital flow that contributed to Bitcoin's price actions. Tether's USDT distribution can be broken down into direct deposits and transfers of USDT through immediate essentially wallets. The following exchanges and entities receive significant USDT injections. Every time Tether prints more money, they're following it into essentially they're pouring it into exchanges for the buying purchase, not just for Bitcoin, but for a majority of crypto assets. But it is helping Bitcoin essentially reach those new price points as well. So Kraken, for example, here's a breakdown of Tether's new minting process and how much money they sent to multiple exchanges. Kraken, for example, received the largest amount of USDT, receiving direct deposits of 2.73 billion USDT, an additional 252 million USDT through the intermediary wallets, totaling $2.98 billion of USDT funneled towards Kraken exchange. Then Coinbase received also some USDT as well. Coinbase, the exchange, received a total of 1.46 billion USDT, which passed all through the immediate wallets. Binance, another large presence. Binance had direct deposits of 774 million USDT and 176 million USDT through intermediate wallets, amounting to 950 million USDT. Bitfinex exchange also received a direct deposit of 325 million USDT. Cumberland DRW, also the exchange, received the actual control of the intermediary wallets is the hands of the liquidity providers, which received 193 million USDT. Other entities, lesser amounts were given to OKX Exchange, Kobo Custody, Bytebit, and Amber Group, Matrix Port, and Bullish.com, with each totaling varyings of 5 million to 80 million USDT were received. This has been one of the central factors behind the recent surge of price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Launched on key exchanges, stablecoins have added more stablecoin volume, which has proven useful in acquiring more Bitcoins and cryptocurrencies and creating a demand essentially for Bitcoin to surge an unprecedented level of essentially $93,000. This development is a sign that Tether, with its USDT, maintains significant control over the promoting of the cryptocurrency market, as it helps to provide upward price movements to cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin through minting of their stablecoins. Every time Tether starts printing more USDT and funneling it towards essentially Binance Exchange or Crypto.com exchange or Kraken exchange and so on, not Crypto.com, but Kraken exchange, Binance Exchange, Coinbase Exchange, and so on, it's a sign of bullishness that they're printing USDT, because that's the purchasing of Bitcoin essentially, or cryptocurrency in general. That's why you've seen some price movements happening. So every time they print money, every time USDT Tether prints more money, it's a sign that it's going to be followed into the market spaces because it's needed, which means the price is going to go higher. Now, moving on from the Tether news to Bitwise. Now, Grayscale essentially was the first one to do this inside the crypto space. Grayscale essentially filed in an S1 filing with the SEC a while back ago, where they did a large cap fund ETF. And inside that large cap fund ETF was Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, AVAX, XRP, is what essentially Grayscale did, turning all of those crypto assets into one big ETF, which they filed towards the SEC, which is being looked into. Grayscale seems to be not the only one doing this now. Bitwise is doing the exact same thing Grayscale did. Bitwise files to convert its Bitcoin and 9 altcoin funds into a spot ETF. Bitwise Asset Manager announced today the New York Stock Exchange Acora has applied to list its Bitwise 10 Crypto Index Fund as an exchange-traded product, ETP, making it the world's first and largest crypto index fund offered as an ETF. Currently listed as essentially on the O2 CQX Best Markets, BITW manages $1.3 billion in assets and represents Bitwise's latest movements to transitions the fund to more accessible ETF structures. ETFs offer investors an efficient and convenient way to gain exposure to crypto assets, said Bitwise's CEO, Hunter Hosley. We are committed to evolving BITW into this structure. The ETF format can provide significant benefits to shareholders, including increased regulatory essentially protections and trading efficiencies, unlike traditional funds. An ETF accepts subscriptions and redemptions based on its net asset value, NAV, creating an arbitrary mechanism that allows essentially trading in secondary markets at a price closer to the NAV. Bitwise's chief investment officer, Matt Hugan, touted the fund's mission to simplify crypto investing for a broader public range. The BITW was the first fund to offer a broad index essentially based approach to crypto space, As the leaders of its class were excited about this next chapter, he said, the Bitwise 10 crypto index fund invests into the 10 largest crypto assets ranked by market capitalizations and rebalanced monthly to reflect market changes. So Grayscale had the big crypto fund ETF that they applied for with Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, and AVAX. Now we have another one that's a large cap fund, essentially index ETF for cryptocurrencies from Bitwise. And they're doing it through the New York Stock Exchange as well. And this is what's inside this big, large fund crypto pack. Bitcoin is a part of this large fund. Ethereum is a part of it. Fading is a part of it. XRP is a part of it. Cardano is a part of it. AVAX, Bitcoin Cash, Chainlink, Uniswap, Polkadot. These are all the cryptos assets essentially involved in Bitwise's large cap fund that they just applied for an ETF for. So that's the second large cap fund ETF we've seen so far. First one was from Grayscale. Second one now is from essentially Bitwise. Amazing to see. Honestly, amazing to see. We're shifting very quickly, essentially, you could say very quickly, we're shifting into this whole digital space with the rules and regulations. And, you know, the next news essentially will get when Gary Gensler getting replaced, Donald Trump as the president, new SEC chairman, rules and regulations, banks, institutions, more ETFs, more ETF for altcoins, and so on. A lot of progress is definitely being made inside the crypto space, I would have to say. Now, before we go to the next news, which is regarding essentially Bitcoin ETFs and $5 billion. $5 billion. Before we go through that news, let's go inside the comment section first. As I said, you know, this is a live, which means if you do have any questions, put it down inside the comment section. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. Let's see what's going on inside the comment section, then we go straight into the next news, which is regarding Bitcoin ETFs and $5 billion. And after that Bitcoin ETF $5 billion news, we're going to go straight to the XRP news. We're going to go in and out of XRP and Ripple news today. There's a lot to cover. Let's see where you're at. I know XRP is up, but the rest of the markets are all red. They're not drastically red. The rest of the markets, XRP is up, yep. But they're not drastically red, the rest of the market space compared to XRP. Look, it's because it's balancing itself up before the next leg up. Good evening, Miles, brother, and CMF. Dazzle, good to see you as well, brother. How you doing? How you been? Good evening, Miles and CMF. Free Feather, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Good evening. 100% facts. Let's go, Dazzle. Hello, Miles and CMF. Glenda, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Hi, Miles and CMF. George, good to see you as well. How you doing? Pump it up. Let's go, Billo. Now, US Bitcoin ETFs. US Bitcoin ETFs buy $5 billion worth of Bitcoin in 6 days. That's an incredible amount, to be fairly honest. $5 billion of Bitcoin purchasing power in 6 days. US Bitcoin ETFs have seen a massive surge in buying activity, purchasing nearly $5 billion worth of Bitcoin in just 6 days. Hold 15 Capital reports this dramatic inflow show essentially increasing institutional interest in Bitcoin as an investment vehicle. Bitcoin ETFs started the buying spree of November 6, 2024, when they saw a daily net inflow of $621.9 million. The momentum continued to gather so much so that the following day, November 7th, was even more of a blow with $1.38 billion flowing into Bitcoin ETFs. The Bitcoin purchasing power then surged again on November 8th with another strong day as $293.47 million worth of Bitcoin was purchased. It continued into the next week. Bitcoin ETFs had a glorious $1.11 billion daily net inflows on November 11th, which is a huge change in the market sentiments. And the pace even accelerated further on November 12th with a total net inflow of $817.54 billion. Of course, of the 6 days, Bitcoin ETFs saw a further $510.11 million of Bitcoins added to the fund by November 13th, bringing that total net inflow almost up to $5 billion has been poured so far in 6 days into Bitcoin ETFs. $5 billion. The influx of capital into Bitcoin ETFs is just a manifestation of how institutional adoption of digital assets is essentially on the upswing. As interest in Bitcoin grows, more and more investors are looking to regulate exchange-traded funds to get exposure to cryptocurrencies without having the difficulty of buying them. At a peak of interest in digital assets, the Bitcoin ETF purchases are making a dramatic rise as Bitcoin attracts more attention from institutional investors. And analysts say the surge in ETF essentially follows could be a new phase of Bitcoin and the broader cryptocurrency market growth. In 6 days, we've had $5 billion pour into Bitcoin ETFs back to back. It added up to $5 billion in 6 days period. That's incredible. And as I said, look, previously, as I've said before, these numbers that you're seeing, not just for Bitcoin, but in general for the crypto space, these numbers that you keep on seeing, Bitcoin reaching new heights, Ethereum climbing the ladder, XRP climbing the ladder, Solana going up the ladder as well, AVAX going up, TON is going up, Chainlink is going up. Yes, they might be a little bit down now, but they're just balancing themselves before the next leg up. But in general, the numbers that you're seeing now, I mean, we haven't even, Gary Gensler is still the chairman of the SEC, which he might be resigning. Donald Trump still hasn't taken his seat on the January 20th is when he takes his seat. We still haven't got a new SEC chairman. We still haven't got rules and regulations. And the market is already showing signs of this. So imagine if we do get essentially Gary Gensler out, new SEC chairman, rules and regulations, more institutions, more banks, more ETFs. Imagine then what the prices will be inside the market space. What you should be picturing is incredible. I was going to swear there, but I didn't. But incredible. I was going to say effing incredible, but yeah. Now, what we're going to be talking about next, ironically, is Gary Gensler, the man of the hour, the guy that nobody likes, the weasel, the simplest way to put it when it comes to Gary Gensler. He might be quitting, which is a great sign. Look, Gary Gensler has no choice. It's either resign or be kicked out. The guy has no power. I've said this multiple times. He's the SEC chairman, and he's the only SEC chairman in history of the United States that has no power. Former SEC members have came out essentially against Gary Gensler. 18 states are looking into the SEC's movements inside the crypto space. And current SEC members are against Gary Gensler. So the entire crypto space hates Gary Gensler. The stock market isn't very fond of Gary Gensler. Banks don't really like Gary Gensler. Institutions don't like Gary Gensler. 18 state governors don't like Gary Gensler. His former employees don't like Gary Gensler. The former CFTC member doesn't. The former CFTC chairman doesn't like Gary Gensler, and well, nobody likes Gary Gensler by the looks of it. I don't even think Gary Gensler likes himself at this point. So, is Gary Gensler the reason behind Ripple's XRP sudden surge to a 16th-month peak, essentially? Most of the cryptocurrency market has gone through a slight correction in the past few hours, but Ripple's native token has defied the overall sentiment. XRP has blasted through its recent, essentially yearly high and has tapped into a 16th-month peak, roughly at 80 cents. Bitcoin stood well above $92,000 earlier today, but has lost over $4,000 since now, struggling below 88,000. And Ethereum is down from its daily peak essentially as well, dropping below $3,100. In contrast, XRP has soared by 16% on a daily scale. As a result, the seventh largest digital asset tapped around 80 cents for the first time since July 2023. A few reasons of how XRP could overcome its 2024 high of 74 essentially cents earlier today, and it has taken the token just a few hours to do so. However, the most powerful reasoning seems to be related to the current SEC chairman, Gary Gensler reports. Reports emerged on X that he had sent an open letter which suggests that he might be stepping down from his current role as soon as tomorrow. So, is Gary Gensler going to resign tomorrow? Look, I'll tell you this. If Gary Gensler resigns tomorrow, happy days. Honestly, happy days. Everybody's excited inside the crypto space, especially the XRP community, out of everyone inside the crypto space, because XRP has been held back the most. So if he resigns tomorrow, happy days. But why I'm saying this is because if he doesn't resign tomorrow, he's still going to be fired. So it's still happy days. So from now until January 20th is Gary Gensler. After that, no longer Gary Gensler. And he has no power whatsoever. Former SEC members essentially came out. Former SEC commissioner members came out and said that whatever case Gary Gensler has opened inside the crypto space is either going to get settled or dismissed. So, which means in the most simplest way, if Gary Gensler essentially resigns, then his cases, he's opened up roughly 100 cases, including crypto cases and exchanges together inside the crypto space. There's about 68 essentially cryptocurrency cases, and then adding on the exchange cases as well. So Gary Gensler has opened up 100 lawsuits inside the crypto space altogether. So if Gary Gensler resigns, then his cases will either inside the crypto space be dismissed or settled. If Gary Gensler gets fired, his cases will either be dismissed or settled. The conclusion is this man can't do anything right now. because he has no power. This is what I keep on saying, as in he's the only SEC chairman in history of the United States to be an SEC chairman with no power. He resigns, the cases get dismissed or settled. He gets fired, the cases get dismissed or settled. However way he looks at it, whatever he does from now until January 20th will be undone. He has no power. So if he had, essentially, if he, resigns tomorrow, happy days. If he doesn't resign tomorrow, he's still getting fired. And there's still a chance of him resigning. But whatever he's touched inside the crypto space, whatever case he's opened up inside the crypto space, it's getting dismissed or settled. So whatever way you look at it, it's good to go. It's a full-on green light, whatever way you look at it. Any case he's opened will either be dismissed or settled. If he resigns, dismissed or settled. If he gets fired, dismissed or settled. Makes no difference. So whatever he does in this time period makes zero difference for the crypto space. If he tries to open up another case, if Gary Gensler decides to appeal a crypto case from the time period now until January 20th, makes no difference because that case will be dismissed or settled. If he tries to continue a Ripple case, if he tries to continue a Kraken case, if he tries to continue suing Coinbase, makes no difference. It reaches January 20th, those cases will be looked into for dismissed or settled. He's the only SEC chairman in the history of the United States that has zero power. Whatever this man touches or opens new cases or appeals new cases will either be dismissed or settled. So however way you look at it, if he does resign tomorrow, happy days. If he doesn't, it's still happy days. Now, back to the whole Gary Gensler situation. Former CFTC chairman just came out of nowhere. A former CFTC chairman came out of nowhere and he tweeted out, publicly tweeting out this, and also tagging Gary Gensler on his tweet and saying, he tagged the SEC as well. And he said he doesn't want to fix Gary Gensler's mess because he already fixed up Gary Gensler's mess back in the CFTC. Imagine that one. Former CFTC chairman comes out and says on a tweet publicly, tagging Gary Gensler, tagging the SEC, saying, I already cleaned up Gary Gensler's mess at the CFTC. I don't want to clean up Gary Gensler's mess again in the SEC. Former chairperson of the Commodities Futures and Trading Commission, Chris, has refuted rumors of circulating the internet that he will take over the office when the current Securities Exchange Commission chair, Gary Gensler, leaves office. There was rumors circulating that this man, who's a former CFTC chairman, might take Gary Gensler's job. And he just came out on Twitter and blurted it out and said, no, thank you. I don't want Gary Gensler's mess because I had to clean up Gary Gensler's mess back in the CFTC days. Why do I want to clean up Gary Gensler's mess in the SEC as well? President Trump promised essentially the crypto community he would fire the serving SEC chairman, Gary Gensler, on the day essentially he assumes office as the US president. Following his victory against Kamala Harris on November 5th, speculations have emerged on who will succeed Gary Gensler as the next, essentially who will be replacing Gary Gensler as the next SEC chairman. Recent rumors have essentially surfaced on the internet claiming that Chris, the former chairman of the Commodities Futures and Trading Commission, will take over the office after Gary Gensler resigns. In a twist of events, Chris recently came out to dispel the rumors. He mentioned that he already cleaned up Gary Gensler's mess after taking over from him as the chair of the CFTC. He also mentioned that he doesn't want to do it again. Chris also addressed other rumors that he was interested in some crypto role at the US Treasury, saying they were wrong. The US SEC chair has been the prime nemesis of firms inside the crypto industry for at least 3 years. During this time, many crypto enthusiasts have criticized Gary Gensler's approach to crypto litigations. This uncertainty surrounding his next successor has grown significantly, and his time in the office may be coming to an end. Not maybe, it is. The US SEC chairman's term runs until June 2026. In an interview with Bloomberg Technology, Gary Gensler refused to answer the question about President-elect Donald Trump's remarks about firing him. However, reports allegedly from insiders revealed that Gary Gensler may opt to resign by the end of December. The crypto community has already begun to speculate on the promising candidates that may oversee the US SEC once Gensler makes his exit. One particular candidate is a former SEC commissioner, Paul Atkins, currently heads essentially the Patrimony Global Partners. He's also served as the transition team during Trump's first term in 2016. Paul Atkins agrees with the US SEC stance that Bitcoin is not a security. However, he has criticized Gary Gensler's enforcements during regulatory approaches. Mark is another person, obviously, as well. Mark is another potential candidate who has grabbed the attention of crypto enthusiasts. He is one of the serving US SEC commissioners and essentially was reappointed in January. He has held various roles and commissions, including advising former chairman Jay Clinton. The commissioner criticized the way the SEC essentially has handled crypto policies in an interview with Fox Business. He also advocated for a change in the US in SEC operations and labeled the commissioner's policies as a disaster. Lawyer and serving US Commissioner Hester Pierce appeared among the promising individuals as well. However, she expressed her unwillingness to remain at the agency after her term ends in 2025. Brian Armstrong, CEO and co-founder of Coinbase, said the next US SEC should withdraw all of the petty crypto cases. He also called for the new chairman to offer the American people an apology. Armstrong also noted that the move would change the current situation created by the commission under Gary Gensler's leadership and emphasized that it could initiate the process for commission to reinstate its long-lost trust as an independent essentially institution of the government agency. So, I mean, the next one is also about Gary Gensler as well. There's a lot of situations happening on Gary Gensler. But yeah, I mean, to be fairly honest, as I said, look, nobody is respecting Gary Gensler, and nobody should respect Gary Gensler. This man has caused more harm on the American market space than ever before. It's been done in the history, to be fairly honest. And he's been holding America back for a long time. So opening up investigations on Gary Gensler, I think that should be done. Making Gary Gensler's essentially life miserable, it should be done as well. And he definitely should be sued. He definitely should be essentially looked into. Look, I'll be honest. I personally think Gary Gensler has bank accounts in the Cayman Islands. I'm not even joking about this one. I honestly believe that Gary Gensler must have been paid off for the actions he took upon the crypto space by somebody. Blackmail is as far, but he's definitely been paid off the way he's treated the crypto space. So, I would say do a full investigation on Gary Gensler. There's probably some bank accounts on the Cayman Islands he doesn't want to bring up and so on. But even the CFTC former chairman comes out and says, I don't want to touch Gary Gensler's mess. Everybody knows Gary Gensler did an incredibly horrendous job as a chairman of the SEC, except Gary Gensler. He's the only man that still believes that he's doing the good thing. Gary Gensler still believes that he's fixing the crypto space. I don't know how, but in his delusional mindset, Gary Gensler believes that he's helping the crypto space. Whereas everybody around him, from governors to presidents, to former SEC commissioners, current SEC commissioners, former CFTC chairmen, current CFTC chairman, everybody around him is telling him, you're doing a very poor job as the SEC chairman. Gary, he believes he's doing the best job ever. I would personally say maybe check Gary Gensler into a mental patient hospital. I'm not sure about that one, but I think he needs to be looked into it because there's something going on there. His brain isn't functioning properly. If he genuinely believes that he's doing something for the crypto space, whereas everybody around him in high-profile jobs and current employees are telling him, you're not. So there must be something happening up there in his brain cells because something's not adding up. This man is extremely delusional. Now, let's go inside the comment section first before we go through the next essentially news. The next news is Gary Gensler getting sued and looked into by 18 US governors. Imagine that one. Getting essentially sued by 18 US states. But before we go through that news, let's go inside the comment section. As I said previously, this is a live, which means if you do have any comments, put it down inside the comment section. Be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. I read out everybody's name and then your comment, and I give you an answer. Get through everyone's comments very fast and very short and sweet, simple. Let's see where we're at inside the comment section. He has resigned out. He's about to. Let's see where we were at. We were here. I sold XRP at 80 cents. What should I buy? Again, I can't recommend you to buy anything, to be fairly honest. But I'm not selling my XRP. I don't know why the hell you would do that, personally. Not financial advice in any sort of a way. Hello, my CMF on YouTube. Scott, good to see you. How you doing? We haven't even started yet. You're selling XRP already? Dazzle, good to see you. How you doing? I can't find the CMF on X. Ooh. Share the live. Let's go, Scott. I found you, Miles. Let's go, Ripple. How you doing? He has to resign out. Do you think he will resign by the end of the month? It's possible, highly possible. He's going to be fired either way, so he's either resigns or gets fired. Who this? Gary Gensler out. Gary doesn't like himself. Gary Gensler's wife doesn't like Gary Gensler. I wouldn't be surprised by that one either. Real life Mr. Burns. Facts. Gary, tomorrow, by tomorrow, especially because there's some notes going around that he might be resigning tomorrow. But even if he isn't, as I said, it's still a positive note. Yep, happy days for sure. 100% facts. It doesn't matter what happens. He's out. Facts. Does anyone think XRP will come down to 40 with geopolitical tensions? Is possible. He has no power, pretty much. I will buy now if he likely resigns tomorrow. Let's go below. It's possible he does resign. It's possible, but if he doesn't, again, happy days still. Time to go, Gary. Facts. Let's go, Shelly. I'm so happy. Let's go, Ripple. I think he'll be gone by this time next week. Like you said, it doesn't matter. He's gone anyways. Facts. Justin, 84-year-old Nancy Pelosi officially files for re-election in 2026. Jesus Christ, let it go. Nancy Pelosi needs to let it go. Honestly. I think a lot of people should explain to some people that you do know you don't take your wealth when you die. She's 84 years old. She's trying to go for re-election in 2026. How much more money is Nancy Pelosi trying to possibly make? You can't take your wealth to the next life. You have to leave it behind and maybe leave some for the rest of us. So it makes zero sense why Nancy Pelosi would essentially want to go for re-election 2026. At one point, you got to start thinking about retirement. Trump elected, we had, honestly, a lot of people assume they're going to be taking their wealth with them. Retire at one point, enjoy life. Trump elected, we had a mini bull run. Now, Gary Gensler, we're going to have another mini bull run. And if you put two mini bull runs back to back, it can turn into a massive bull run. Be ready. Don't miss out. Let's go, Chosen. Facts. Thanks. Hi, Miles and CMF. Peg, good to see you. How you doing? How you been, Peg? I overslept my nap. Did I miss something important? Peg, good to see you. How you doing? Gary Gensler might resign tomorrow is what's going on. And there's some other news as well, which we're going to go for. But one of them is that he might be resigning tomorrow. Gary Gensler is about to be sued as well. But good to see you, Peg. How you been? He was on the payroll to bring more evil. He's being paid off. Low Miles. Miles, facts. Let's go, Ian. You're the worse than me. That's funny, Miles, and true. Let's go, Peg. Biden sends money to Ukraine, and then Zelensky sends it back to escrow accounts on the Bahamas to Gary Gensler. They all ciphering the money together. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. I will never sell my XRP. The institutions are not pushing me out. Let's go, Scott. But what is the notes that regarding Gary resigns tomorrow? It's from the SEC notes. Seriously, the real life Mr. Burns. Facts. Absolutely. Should be by now for tomorrow. It could be rumors as well, so just keep that in mind. As in, he might not resign. But as I said, if he doesn't, either way, it's still, I mean, he's going to be fired anyways. He has to resign or to get fired. He has until now, until January 20th. So either way, it's good to go. But you're saying in terms of purchasing, dollar cost average until now from January 20th, the best option. 1 foot in, 1 foot out is always the best option. Hi, Miles and family. Does anyone know anything about RCOF? Troy, I can take a look into it. Not now, but you can direct message or take a look into it for you. Well said, Miles. Let's go, Dazzle. Imagine he resigns tomorrow or the next day. Price prediction 24 hours after the news. XRP will be near $1 or touching $1. Near $1, I would say, but it could also possibly touch $1. But the entire crypto space will be bullish. Bitcoin is going skyrocketing up. Solana is going up. Cardano is going up. Everything's going up. XRP will be doing the most. XRP was held back the most by the SEC, so that will be doing the most out of everyone. And it should be doing the most out of everyone. She's power hungry. Facts. What do Gensler and Kamala have in common? No job. Job. Facts. It's all about the power. Yes. Facts, JP. Absolutely. Hey, how you doing, Ripple? Now, US SEC, 18 states. 18 US states sue SEC over Chair Gary Gensler's harassment of crypto industries. 18 states inside the United States are officially fed up with the Securities and Exchange Commission, and they're aiming for a frustration right at the SEC's chairman, Gary Gensler. That's according to Fox Business journalist Aaron Torrent. These states, led by Republican attorney generals, just hit the SEC with a lawsuit, accusing Gary Gensler and his team of gross government overreach. That's strangling the crypto industry. Facts. They claim that Gensler's SEC is essentially bullying crypto businesses, leaving a massive question mark over whether it's enforcing the law or just acting like a regulator on a warpath. The lawsuit points out that Gary Gensler's regulations by enforcement approach steps all over the states, right to oversee their economies. These attorneys say Gary Gensler's crackdown is so intense as taken the SEC original mandates and twisted it into something furthermore and aggressive. They argue that this hardline stance against crypto is more about control than protecting investors or upholding the law. This lawsuit aims to pull the essential reins on Gensler's attempts to regulate the industry through lawsuits and threats instead of clear regulations and established regulations. For the crypto industry, Gary Gensler is public enemy number one. Facts. Since taking over the SEC, he's led countless enforcement actions against big crypto players, claiming they operate in an illegal gray zone. This comes as an expectation of resignations from Gary Gensler continues to grow, especially with his recent statements and Trump's election win. This guy is out no matter what. He's out no matter what. But yeah, Republican, essentially, US state members are suing Gary Gensler, 18 of them. You know, it's because they're being paid as well, to be fairly honest. As I said previously, 200 politicians are pro-crypto. There are 200 politicians inside the United States that are pro-crypto. Mainly because of the crypto pack fund that Ripple is feeding into them, and Coinbase is feeding into them, Kraken is feeding into them, Crypto.com is feeding into them as well. So these 200 politicians right now that are running the show, you can see them running the show because they're suing Gary Gensler, because they've been paid off. Well, donations is what's going on here. But massive crypto donations are going towards politicians. Hence why 18 US states, all Republican, by the way, are now suing essentially Gary Gensler. But it's great to see that the crypto money that was, that Ripple has been handing out to politicians, and Crypto.com has been handing out to politicians, and Coinbase has been handing out to politicians, isn't going to waste, because they're all suing Gary Gensler. Now, moving on, essentially from Gary Gensler being sued by 18 US states. And as I said, we're going to go back and forward into Ripple news on tonight's live. So we have a mixture of news to go through. We're going to go straight into Franklin Templeton news, because Franklin Templeton is expanding its tokenized fund. Now, the other one that has a tokenized fund is obviously BlackRock, and that fund has reached about $500 million. Now, Franklin Templeton is another one that's going to tokenize funds, and they're going to be expanding into another crypto project, and that crypto project is Ethereum. Franklin Templeton, a global investment management firm, has made a significant essentially move that underscores the growing essential coverage of traditional finance and blockchain technology. The firm has just broadened the reach of its tokenized money market fund, the Franklin On-Chain US Government Money Fund, the FOBXX, to the Ethereum blockchain. The fund, launched in 2021, has become the first ever money market fund to leverage a public blockchain for transactions and ownership tracking. This initiative comes as the tokenized real-world assets is rapidly gaining attention in the finance space. The FOBXX fund, represented by the Benji token, focuses on the secure and efficient investments inside U.S. government securities. It offers liquidity and stability through cash investments and fully collateralized repurchase agreements. According to Franklin Templeton, the fund ensures that at least 99.5% of its assets are invested in these highly secure instruments. It provides stability for investors while also exploring the vast potential of blockchain. Franklin Templeton's decision to add the Ethereum blockchain to its list of its supported networks reflects a continued commitment to integrate blockchain technology into its fund and offerings. This move follows the firm's addition of essentially other blockchains earlier this year, including EP204 blockchain. This action is a part of its broader strategy to expand the accessibility and liquidity of tokenized government securities. Tokenized treasuries have seen a significant rise as well, with recent data showing a nearly 2% increase in U.S. government securities over the past week. The surge highlights the increasing adoption of tokenized assets across various platforms and a growing interest in blockchain-based financial products. As of now, the total assets under management, AUM, in tokenized essentially government securities stands at $2.329 billion. Franklin Templeton's FOBXX currently holds approximately $409.93 million, representing 17.6% of the market share when it comes to tokenized US Treasuries. Despite competition from BlackRock's Build Fund, which leads with $513.47 million in assets under management, FOBXX remains a key player. Build's expansion across blockchains like EP204, ARB, and Polygon highlights the growing reach of tokenized assets, and now Ethereum. Ethereum remains the dominant blockchain for tokenized treasury issuance, with its total real-world assets under management now surpassing $2.96 billion. This makes Ethereum a critical infrastructure for the growth of tokenized government securities. The network drives a greater investment, essentially confidence, and foster innovation in decentralized finance and applications. Franklin Templeton's move to expand its presence on Ethereum further emphasizes the blockchain's central role in tokenizing traditional assets. So, Franklin Templeton is expanding its range. They have already with essentially EP204, ARB, and Polygon, and now they're expanding their range with Ethereum, which makes sense. I mean, to be fairly honest, BlackRock's fund is also on Ethereum as well. Although, even though Ethereum is slow and sluggish and congested, but it has the best capabilities when it comes to smart contracts and so on, which is a good feature for tokenizations. But this is also a sign that they're going to be expanding even more to other blockchains. So any other chains that do offer tokenization capabilities, it's going to be expanding towards it. BlackRock has stood firm with Ethereum, but Franklin Templeton is expanding their range when it comes to tokenization of assets with blockchains. So they didn't just start with Ethereum, they started with a few other ones, now Ethereum, which means later on they're going to be expanding probably into Solana or XRP or so on and so on, which is great to see that more institutions are opening their range out. They're starting to move away from the current situation of just Bitcoin, Ethereum, to opening their range, because they have 3 other crypto assets already on. Now they're adding Ethereum. Sorry, one. So honestly, it's great to see that this is happening inside the traditional financial space. Now, before we go through the next news, which is regarding Jerome Powell, let's go through that conversation first, and then we go straight into Jerome Powell's news. And Jerome Powell is another weasel in this situation. I'll explain why in a bit. It's all about the power, is what JP says. Facts, JP, facts. Let's go. I'm loving this Gary Cabbage. Garbage. Let's go, Ripple. What about Gala? It's not a project I would say is a must-have in any sort of way when it comes to Gala. It's not a scam project, but for me, number one category inside the crypto space is the financial category. So money is something that's going to be always used 24/7. It's not about interest in any sort of a way. So the gaming category, people tend to move away from game to game. So it's preference-wise. Every category inside the crypto space is preference-wise, except the financial category and the data category. Once they're firmly established, that's it. So the gaming category inside the crypto space is preference-wise. If they create a good game, everybody starts playing it, but then everybody gets bored and moves on to the next game and next game and next game. That's what the issue is with the gaming category. Not saying it's a bad category. It's going to become a $1 billion, $1 trillion space, the gaming category inside crypto. But that's what the issue is preference-wise. And then you have the AI category as well, which is preference-wise, because today you'll be using this AI tool. Tomorrow there could be another better AI platform, and a better AI platform every day or every week or every month. So it becomes preference-wise as well. But when you slow in the Web3 section as well, Simpson, but when you slow it down to the financial category, you're never going to get bored of money. So financial category is always going to be number one for me. It's going to be used 24/7. It's not like the gaming category, people lose interest and start changing into another financial project. It makes no sense. So financial category, XRP, XLM, XDC, HPOR, ACH, they're pretty much good to go. The data category as well, that's pretty much good to go as well. Even Saudi Arabia, one of the biggest oil essentially countries out there as well, claiming that data is the next oil. You can see where it's going to. The world's about to go digital. All of that data needs to be stored somewhere. So 2 categories I would say preferably should be focusing mostly on, rather than any other categories inside the crypto space, is 1, financial categories, because it's not preference-wise, it's going to be used 24/7. 2, data, because it's not preference either, because it's going to be used 24/7. But when it comes to gaming and Web3 and AI category, it's preference-wise. Today you'll be using OpenAI, for example. Tomorrow you're going to be using Solana's AI. a few weeks down the road, you're going to be using essentially Ethereum's new AI project and so on, because their AI might be better than the other AI. But once, XRP is within this, embedded into the system, it's being used. That's it. It's not preference anymore. It's full stop. Once ACH has done the same thing, or HBAR has done the same thing, or XDC has done the same thing, or XLM has done the same thing, that's it. You're going to be using this money. It's 24/7. Nobody loses interest in money, but you can lose interest in the gaming category. You can lose interest essentially in the AI category and move on to another AI project, move on to a better game inside the crypto space. But you're never going to move on to another form of money, because we're already in the new form of money. It's blockchain. So two categories your focus should be on is the financial category, especially going to rules and regulations now, and with the banks and institutions that are going to be able to operate, because banks and institutions inside the United States had a difficulty due to being inside of a gray area, no longer in a gray area as time goes by because of rules and regulations, the SEC chairman. On those basis, financial category is number one, data category is number two, everything else is preference-wise category. So Gala is not, a must-have project in any sort of a way. There are much more must-have projects you should be looking into rather than Gala. Not saying Galaxy is a terrible project in any sort of a way at all, but there are better ones out there. Imagine if XRP is unlocked after 5 years. Yeah, exactly. ETH looks very bullish with ETH 3.0 upgrades and lower gas fees. True. Big time. Let's go. Can we please not mention that crypto token Gala? Yeah, because JP forgot to transfer his Gala to the new Gala, which means he lost his old Gala. But anyways, now moving on to the next news. Jerome Powell. He's another weasel in this category. There's many weasels. One, SEC Chairman Gary Gensler, he's a weasel. Senator Elizabeth Warren, she's a weasel. FDCI Chairman, he's a weasel. Jerome Powell is another weasel as well. Fed Chairman Jerome Powell, hawkish comments, threw some cold water on crypto. You see, every time we have a rate cut, the market reacts in a positive way. The crypto market will react in a positive way every time we have rate cuts. People inside the crypto space would have told you otherwise a while ago, but when we had our first rate cut, what happened to the crypto space? It reacted in a positive way. It's a very simple answer. It's because rate cuts are an indication that an economy is not doing too well. And if a traditional economy is not doing too well, rate cuts happen. And when rate cut happens, it's a sure confidence of, yeah, we're not doing too well, which means people start hedging against that scenario, which leads to either gold investments or crypto investments. Hence why the crypto market reacts positively every time we have rate cuts. Now, Jerome Powell is trying to suggest that we might not be having any more rate cuts, which is completely the BS, because he knows for a fact Trump is pushing him for rate cuts. It's hardly a blip on the charts after the major run higher following the elections of Donald Trump. But the crypto markets did turn somewhat lower rates in the US trading day. Thursday, after essentially a speech from Jerome Powell's from the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell, which was today, the speech that he did, he said, "The economy is not sending any signals that we need to be in a hurry to lower the rates," said Jerome Powell in the prepared remarks at the Dallas conference. He said, "The strength we are currently seeing in the economy gives us the ability to approach our decisions carefully." You know why that's a load of BS? Because I don't think Jerome Powell reads other data reports, or he probably assumes that people don't read other data reports. Because with Jerome Powell coming out doing a speech at the Dallas conference today, coming out very proudly saying the economy is doing perfect, there's nothing wrong with the economy. The CPI data came out yesterday. The CPI data suggested that inflation has went slightly up. So how does the CPI data come out yesterday, claiming that inflation has went slightly up and the economy is on some turbulent situation? Jerome Powell comes out today and goes, we're doing perfectly fine. It's either Jerome Powell didn't read the CPI data or he assumes people didn't read it, because those statements don't match. How does the CPI data come out and say inflation has increased by a bit and then we might be going through some turbulence? And then Jerome Powell comes out the next day and goes, we're doing perfectly fine. Rate cuts are probably not needed. The price of Bitcoin fell about 1.5% to 88,300 in the minutes of following Jerome Powell's comments, because Jerome Powell stating no more rate cuts is what made the crypto market slightly drop. Because rate cuts help the market go up, and when he says no rate cuts, the market reacts in a negative way. The price at time had dipped a further 88,000, essentially went down to $88,000 3.2% over the past 24 hours of a drop. Ethereum essentially is down by similar amounts. The broader CoinDex 20 index, however, is up by 0.5% and of the same time frames as well. It's being led by 13% advance for Ripple, essentially XRP, perhaps cheered by the remarks of the Securities Exchange Commission Chairman Gary Gensler, which could be interpreted essentially of him leaving the SEC, which is why XRP is up today. Just a few hours ago, thought to be certain thing that the chance of the Fed rate cuts at its next meeting in mid-December have fallen to 62% in the wake of Jerome Powell's speech. According to the CME Fed Watch 1 day ago, those chances stood at 83%. The chance of a rate cut was standing at 83%. Now the chances of a rate cut is standing at 62%. Jerome Powell is completely loaded of BS. We're going to be having rate cuts. We should be having rate cuts. Not only that, Trump is going to force rate cuts out of Jerome Powell, which is the best part. Honestly, I've said this and I can't say it more than enough. Thank God Trump won. Honestly, thank God Trump won. On the essentially also on a tier of a late situation, traditional markets pulled back a bit in the hawkish tone of Jerome Powell, led by the Nasdaq 0.75% decline to a session low just a few minutes before the close of trading days. Crypto markets, of course, remain sharply higher of late, with Bitcoin still sporting essentially a 15% week-over-week gain. And names like Cardano, XRP, Neo, and XLM are still bringing in quite a decent amount percentage-wise, 20%, 40%, and so on. So if you're wondering why is the crypto market slightly down today, it's because of Jerome Powell. The man came out and said, we don't need rate cuts. The economy is doing perfectly well, which is complete little BS. Because yesterday's CPI data came out and it claimed differently. So how does the CPI data come out and say we're doing bad, and Jerome Powell comes out and goes, we're doing excellent? There's something going on. And that something is Jerome Powell is full of BS. Now, moving on from the Jerome Powell manipulated situation to, and he definitely needs to be replaced as well. Trump has said that he's going to be looking into a loophole for replacement of Jerome Powell, the Fed chairman, because he's very corrupt. The Fed chairman is extremely corrupt, extremely manipulative. He has been lying about the figures for a very long time, a while now. He's been stretching numbers. He's been trying to tell everybody the economy is doing excellent under the Biden administration and Kamala Harris and so on. And it hasn't. The economy has not been doing excellent under the Biden administration in any sort of a way. Anybody with more than a few brain cells can tell that, essentially prices are through the roof. So it hasn't been excellent. But according to Jerome Powell, throughout these 4 years, he just keeps on coming out with new reports and going, we're doing excellent. We don't need rate cuts. Until finally some rate cuts were forced out of him recently. But the man is full of BS. He needs to be replaced as well. A lot of corrupt and manipulative people need to be replaced, and he's one of them. He definitely needs to be replaced. Now, what we're going to be talking about, moving on from Jerome Powell's horrendous speech to ex-Valkyrie, essentially. But his speech manipulated the crypto markets. That's how it works. His speech manipulated the crypto markets by lying. He comes out on live news and lies to the public. Because, honestly, according to Jerome Powell's words, everybody can afford gas, everybody can afford to buy a house, everybody can afford to buy groceries, everybody can afford to pay their mortgages, everybody has well-paying paid jobs, everybody can take vacations when they want. That's the speech Jerome Powell gives, that everybody's doing perfect. We don't need rate cuts. The economy is excellent. That's the speech he's giving. But is it that way, though? No. Because not only no, but the CPI data will also say no. But according to Jerome Powell, everything's perfect. He's another one that's delusional as well. Gary Gensler is not the only delusional person on this planet. Jerome Powell is also delusional. Where Gary claims he's saving the crypto space and Jerome Powell claims he's saving the world. Now, what we're going to talk about next is the ex-Valkyrie CEO, Leo. Leo Wald's investment firm essentially buys 4 validators, including Solana networks, for $18 million. A former ex-Valkyrie CEO has just invested into Solana by buying such nodes and operators and so on. So, but before we go through that, let's go inside the comment section first before we go through that news. As I said previously, if you do have any comments, put it down inside the comment section. This is a live, which means, you know, I'm reading everybody's comments as we go along. Can we please, not very low. Miles, why is XRP pushing wild now? Gary Gensler getting fired? And why is ACH doing absolutely nothing compared to the market? It's because that's just going to move with the rest of the space. I mean, it's going to be moving with Bitcoin. Remember what I said a long time ago. If you were watching this live a long time ago, I mean, this is episode 204 right now. But if you're watching this live a very long time ago, you would have realized me saying that we're going to reach a certain stage where some crypto projects are going to start detaching themselves from Bitcoin. We're getting very close to that stage where crypto projects are going to start detaching themselves from Bitcoin. Remember when I said we're going to slowly go into utility, and which we are headed towards utility as well. Very slowly, we're heading towards utility right now, where we're heading into a new SEC chairman, rules and regulations, America becoming capital of the crypto world, banks and institutions can operate now. Remember when, you know, I said a lot of crypto projects are going to be detaching themselves from Bitcoin. The main purpose of blockchain was not buy, sell, quick profit. That was never the main purpose of blockchain. The main purpose of blockchain was to revolutionize everything as we know it in different aspects. Some projects were created to revolutionize the gaming industry. Some projects were created to revolutionize the AI industry, which is very new. Some projects were created to revolutionize the internet by moving from Web 2 to Web 3. Some projects were essentially created to revolutionize how we do data storage around the world. And some projects were essentially created how we in terms of revolutionizing payments around the world for domestic or international payments. So when I said those things, I meant them. As I've said, you know, I've always been correct. I've never been wrong in any sort of a way. I mean, maybe. No, I've never been wrong. The only reason I've never been wrong is because I'm very thankful of God. You know, the wisdom that I have is from God. So I'm very thankful on that matter. But here's the thing. You're going to be seeing a lot of projects as time goes by detaching themselves from Bitcoin, mainly because we're going to go into utility. And the contracts, for example, Ripple, for example, has a contract, let's just say. In this scenario, Ripple has a contract, for example, with HSBC Bank. Bitcoin doesn't have a contract with HSBC Bank. So once the utility starts kicking in for XRP, XRP is going to detach itself and start going on its own path because it has a contract with HSBC Bank while Bitcoin doesn't, for example. And that's going to be happening to quite a lot of crypto projects because I've just explained one contract. XRP has about thousands of contracts going on. And once those thousands of contracts start turning on one by one, it's going to go detaching itself straight away from Bitcoin and go on its own path. It's going to climb that ladder on its by itself, essentially. So no longer is the market going to be following the Bitcoin's footsteps. And you can already see certain scenarios of that happening. Slowly, starting to see some scenarios of that happening, where some crypto projects are doing outrageous numbers, not the meme coins, the utility projects, where some projects are doing exceptional numbers, while some assets are moving. But you're going to be seeing a lot more of that the moment we go into rules and regulations, the moment the banks and institutions start operating in the utility features. You're going to be seeing a lot of crypto projects detaching themselves. And that traditional method of Bitcoin goes up, feeds into altcoins has pretty much died. The traditional method of Bitcoin goes up, feeds into altcoins has pretty much died. The Bitcoin ETFs, for example, are not going to be selling to buy into altcoins. For example, institutions are not going to be selling off their Bitcoin ETFs to buy altcoins. It's never going to be happening. A lot of the retail section are not going to be selling their Bitcoins either to feed into altcoins. That method of Bitcoin going up, feeding into altcoins has pretty much died. So what's left? What's the new method? Well, the new method is this project useful in terms of when we have rules and regulations? Is it going to be used? Does it have contracts? Does it have licensings? Because in a field of rules and regulations of banks and institutions, if that crypto project wants to survive, now it has to survive by itself. It can't follow the Bitcoin footstep anymore. Now it has to survive on what it brings to the table. Does it bring licensing to the table? Does it have contracts on the table? And so on. And if there's a crypto project that doesn't have contracts, doesn't have licensings, that it's pretty much done for over time, because we're about to go into rules and regulations. And if those crypto projects can't bring something to the table within rules and regulations, within the banks and institutions, then it doesn't belong on the table. So the method of Bitcoin going up and selling into altcoins has pretty much died out. That was the previous method. The previous method was that. Why? Because it was just retail section and some hedge funds and Bitcoin. And we didn't have ETFs back then. We didn't have banks buying Bitcoin, or countries buying Bitcoin. We had the retail section. The retail section buys Bitcoin. Some hedge funds brought Bitcoin back then. And then we sold it into the altcoins and brought the altcoins back up. We're not going through the same methods. We have a lot of things now that we didn't have before. With governments buying Bitcoin, governments going to Bitcoin mining, Bitcoin ETFs, not just inside the United States, but worldwide scenarios. So there's a lot of things, and rules and regulations we're heading towards as well, which is banks and institutions, more ETFs, more alternative ETFs. So the world's completely transforming. The previous method that everybody keeps on living by, Bitcoin goes up, fees into the altcoins, has pretty much died. It's gone, it's finished. Kiss it goodbye. Because the new method is, we're going into regulations. Not a single institution is going to be selling off their Bitcoin ETFs to feed into altcoins. They couldn't care less about altcoins if it's that way. But you introduce an ETF altcoin, different scenario. But we're going to get that with a new SEC chairman, not with Gary Gensler. But it has to be, what does it bring to the table? That previous method, completely gone. Because institutions buy Bitcoin ETFs for 5-year projections minimum. The reason why you never saw Bitcoin dropping to 20, everybody remember, there was a time period, there was a very time period inside the crypto space. A lot of crypto influencers were making videos back to back, telling people Bitcoin is going to go to $20,000, $10,000, and then the institutions will buy it. Did Bitcoin go to $20,000? No. What happened instead? Bitcoin started climbing the other way. It went up. One, institutions don't care about $20,000 Bitcoins. Institutions buy an asset for 5-year projections minimum. So all those institutions buying essentially Bitcoin, they're buying it for 5-year projections. Not a single one of them is going to be selling it feeding to altcoins. The retail section now. Now you might say, well, the retail section can still go the previous method. They can sell, their Bitcoins and go for altcoins, but they won't do it either. The majority of the retail section won't be selling their Bitcoins off to go into essentially altcoins, because the majority of the retail section now are seeing the bigger picture as well. That the ones that are inside Bitcoin, they're seeing the bigger picture as well. They want to climb that ladder. They don't want to feed into altcoins either, which remains the new method. Does this crypto project that you're holding bring something to the table? Because we are about to go into rules and regulations. One of the biggest market spaces, not even one of the biggest market space in the entire world is the US market space. And the US market space is about to become the capital of cryptocurrencies, but with rules and regulations. Which means any crypto project that wants to see a chance of survival must have something in terms of licensings to be able to operate in regulations, or contracts to bring some money in. And if you're holding a crypto project that has neither one of those things, neither a license to operate or a contract in its name, then it's just a crypto project claiming something it can't do. Because a lot of crypto projects will claim they can do tokenizations, they're fast payments, they're cheap, they're secure, but they have no license and no contracts, which means they're useless. But you can also claim that, I can buy that crypto project and, when it gets licensings, then I'll make the money. Look, everything is a risk inside the market space. Every crypto asset carries risk. Every stock carries risk. Any sort of asset carries risk. But there are ways you can lower your risk. Not, take it away completely off the table, but you can lower your risk. So why, increase your risk when you don't have to? Because there are crypto projects already that are primed to do well under regulations. Bitcoin is the only regulated asset inside the market space. XRP is about to be next. As much as people don't want to hear it, XRP is never going to get regulated or so on, it is. And when it does, and you miss out, tough luck. And XRP is cheap for what it's going to become. Extremely cheap for what it's going to become. So there are assets right now, and that's just one of them. XRP is cheap for what it's going to become. XLM is cheap for what it's going to become. HBAR is cheap for what it's going to become. ACH is very cheap for what it's going to become. Well, there's a lot of assets that are very cheap for what they're going to become. And all these assets that I'm naming have licensings. They operate with banks in and out. They're doing testings with institutions. So we're going into a new method. And the previous method has completely went away, where Bitcoin goes up, we feed into the altcoins. It's pretty much died up. The new method is, what does this crypto project bring to the table? Does it have licensings or contracts? If it has neither one of those, it's just going to be disappearing over time. Everybody's been telling you for a while inside the crypto space that 90% of crypto projects will go away. 90% of crypto projects will disappear. And if you always wondered to yourself, why does 90% of crypto projects going to disappear? Well, because of that. Because they have zero licensings and zero contracts, which means they can't operate under essentially rules and regulations because they have no license to operate. And they have no contracts in place, which means they have no cash inflow. It's very simple. So I've said this a million times and I'll say it again. Position yourself correctly. We're going into rules and regulations. If you're not positioned correctly in the market space with rules and regulations, and you're holding speculative crypto assets on the hope they get essentially licensings or they land the contract, then good luck to you. But if you're positioned correctly and you're holding on to assets that have licensings, that have contracts, and you understand it takes time, then you're perfectly fine. You're going to be climbing that ladder. And a lot of these assets, as I said, are going to be detaching themselves from Bitcoin because the contracts that essentially XRP has, Bitcoin doesn't have. Essentially, the licensing, essentially, what XRP has, what Bitcoin wouldn't have in some jurisdictions. But the contracts that, for example, XRP has, that or Ripple has, Bitcoin doesn't have those contracts. Bitcoin isn't being embedded essentially in some payment system the same way XRP is. Or essentially, even other terms as well, AVAX, they're being used on a subnet green by JP Morgan. Bitcoin is not being used on a subnet green by JP Morgan. Citigroup Bank is using AVAX on a subnet green. Bitcoin is not being used on a subnet green because they don't even have a subnet green. So there's going to be a lot of detaching situations going on. We're about to go into utility. The only purpose cryptocurrencies were created for was utility, not buy, sell, quick profits. That's stocks, even though they're not quick profits, but that's stocks because they have no utility. It's just buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. Crypto is buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. For a time period, it's been like that, but utility. We're going into utility. The closer we get to rules and regulations, the more we're going into utility. And once America establishes itself as a capital of cryptocurrencies with full-on regulations, the world is going to be following in its footsteps. Because if the biggest market space on this planet is about to go crypto or blockchain or whatever, the rest of the market space is going to follow it as well. The Asian market space will follow it. The European market space will follow it. The UK will follow it. The Middle Eastern market space will follow. It's the biggest market space on this planet is the US market space. If they're going towards a blockchain sector, believe me, the world is going to follow it. They're not going to get left behind. As much as China hates the idea of Bitcoin or banning cryptocurrencies, they're going to have to think of something. Because China and the US have always been competitors. So imagine the US climbing the ladder to become the capital of cryptocurrencies. China's going to sit back? Hell no. China's going to figure out something on how to bypass and create some new laws to get involved as well. We're about to go into utility. If, as I said previously as well, if MicroStrategy can make 8 companies follow their footsteps, MicroStrategy, the first original Bitcoin ETF, MSTR stock, they made a Japanese company follow their footsteps in the corporate sector. They made 2, essentially 3 Canadian companies follow their footsteps. And a few other companies follow their footsteps as well. Slovenia, going towards tokenizations, in the EU, Slovenia, going towards tokenizations in the EU, made the United Kingdom follow their footsteps. If America goes towards cryptocurrencies and brings out regulations and brings out tokenizations and brings out ETFs and the banks and institutions get involved, everybody's going to follow them. If the UK will follow Slovenia, if MicroStrategy can get 8 companies to follow its footsteps, what do you think the US market space is going to do? We're about to go into regulations worldwide type of scenario. We're about to go into regulations. We're about to go into essentially licensings and operations. We're about to go banks and institutions, ETFs for altcoins and so on. So position yourself correctly, because we're in a whole different ball game. We've been in a whole different ball game since the beginning of this year, with the first Bitcoin ETFs dropping at January times, beginning of this year. So we're about to go into a whole different ball game. And if you're not positioned correctly in this ball game and you're holding random crypto assets, then what the hell have you been doing inside the crypto space all this time? There are people inside the crypto space that have been inside the crypto space for 6 years, 7 years, 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, 2 years. So if you've been inside the crypto space for this long, and we go into regulations, banks, institutions, licensings, and you're holding on to random crypto assets, what the hell have you been doing all this time? Following the crowd, which should be the only answer for you. Because if you're holding, as I said previously as well, if you're holding camel token or frog token or cat token or donkey token, well, as everybody around you is holding essentially, Bitcoin, Ethereum, or XRP, or XLM, or XDC, or HBAR, or ACH, or NEAR, or Chainlink, or AVAX, and you're the one holding essentially cat token, frog token, donkey token, camel token. Well, in that scenario, in a world filled with regulations and licensings and CBDCs and tokenizations, the only donkey in that scenario is you, because you spend your golden years inside the crypto space chasing dreams when you could have been chasing reality. Don't waste your golden years inside the crypto space by chasing animal tokens. We're going into utility, we're going into regulations, we're going into licensings, and if the US, going towards to become a capital of cryptocurrencies, they're going to make the rest of the world flip. The rest of the world, every country that's moving slow, any institution that's moving slow, they're going to move at a rapid pace. For example, France yesterday did an emergency meeting. The Central Bank of France, Banque de France, did essentially an emergency meeting yesterday talking about altcoins. Central Bank of France, Banque de France, emergency meeting talking about altcoins and how they're going to regulate it. Why? Because Donald Trump is trying to make the US the capital of cryptocurrencies. One company, MicroStrategy, made 8 companies go towards crypto. Slovenia, going into tokenizations, made the United Kingdom follow their footsteps. What do you think America is going to do to the rest of the world? The entire world is going to flip upside down when America goes towards cryptos, when Trump takes that seat and puts in the work. So position yourselves correctly. Honestly, don't spend your golden years, months, days, weeks, minutes, seconds inside the crypto space chasing dreams. Chase reality. Sure, reality takes a little bit of time. Reality is not overnight type of scenarios, but at least it's going to happen. Or you can hold essentially donkey token and hope for the best. Honestly, you got to position yourselves correctly. A lot of people need to stop chasing dreams inside the crypto space and position yourselves correctly. Because once CBDCs hit, which they're going to hit in 2025, the EU is coming out of their CBDCs in 2025. Russia's coming out of CBDCs 2025. Brazil's coming out of CBDCs in 2025. India's expanding their CBDCs in 2025. A lot of countries are launching the CBDCs 2025. In the UK, it's going to be doing test payments in 2025. We're going into CBDCs. We're going into regulations. We're going into banks and institutions. We're going into a very centralized system. Position yourselves correctly inside the crypto space, or you're going to be dreading it for the rest of your life, that you had an opportunity that you messed up. Because a lot of people might have missed the Bitcoin chance, being able to buy Bitcoin at $1. A lot of people missed that opportunity of buying Bitcoin at $1. Don't miss that opportunity again. I'm not saying buy Bitcoin, but I'm saying don't miss that opportunity again, because this is your second chance inside the crypto space. We're going towards regulations and so on. This is your second chance inside the crypto space. Your first chance was to buy Bitcoin at $1, and it wasn't possible for you because either you were never in crypto, or essentially you came in too late into crypto and so on. Well, this is your second chance inside the crypto space. Position correctly. Don't waste your time. Now, let's go back inside the comment section before we go through the next news. By the way, this is a live, which means if anybody's got any questions, put it down inside the comment section. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. Let's see where we're at. Let's see. Late but made it evening all. Semper, good to see you. How you doing? But yeah, I think everybody can remember when I said detaching when it comes to cryptocurrency. A lot of crypto projects are going to start detaching themselves the more we go into regulations. Miles, is it true that if you send your tokens to decentralized exchange and cash out on them, you can save yourself from the taxman? No, false. Fed makes their own rules, which is true. XRP took his seventh position back, overtaking USDC by market cap. Well, let's go, Joe. I've been thinking now about buying XRP. What's your advice, brother? Dollar cost average into it still. Remember that, Miles? Facts. Let's go, Ian. Regarding detaching crypto assets, transparency, Miles. Facts. Let's go. The Fed is a legal business. XRP is going crazy. Late but made it evening all. Semper, good to see you. How you doing? How you been, brother? I hold XRP and I've been buying regularly for a year, a few times. How long do you think before regulations will come in? You're going to be seeing movements of regulations happening after, obviously, January 20th. Not on January 20th, but progressing forward after January 20th. Thank God Trump is chosen. Honestly, facts. Miles, do you think this bull run will be very short? People say it will end by January. Well, people are born yesterday. No, below it's not going to be short in this area. Look, you're going to always experience turbulence inside of any crypto. Inside of any market space, you're always going to be seeing turbulence of massive turbulence of geopolitical tensions, or turbulence of manipulation or corruptness and so on. So expect turbulence of going up and down inside the market space. But in general, with regulations and utility, it's up, 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 with balancing along the way. And from there, they will see a bear market. Yeah, people are born yesterday. As well, they're the same people that said Bitcoin is going to go to $20,000 because they thought institutions will only buy $20,000 Bitcoins. Honestly, a lot of people assume that institutions will only buy $20,000 Bitcoins. Hence why they said Bitcoin is going to go to $20,000 and then the institutions will buy, because they want to push out the retail sections. Look, the institutions, as I said previously, don't care about the retail section, because the institutions know that the retail section will jump out of their positions naturally. They don't need to push you out your retail. They don't need to push you out your positions. MicroStrategy is, one company that's buying Bitcoin no matter what the price is. This man said, Michael Saylor said that he will be buying Bitcoin at $100,000. MicroStrategy has been buying Bitcoin at $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. 80,000. He's going to be buying Bitcoin at 100,000. He says he's going to be buying Bitcoin at 110, 120, 130, 140, 150. He doesn't care. Here's the thing. They are looking at, MicroStrategy is looking at 20-year projections by the looks of it, not 5-year projections. So they don't care if they're buying Bitcoin at $100,000. Look, institutions are not pushing. They're not going to be, here's the thing. They'll manipulate the market and corrupt the market to push out of some of your positions. Fair enough. But naturally, people will jump out of their positions from the retail section, because the majority of the retail section don't buy assets for 5-year projections. The majority of the retail section will buy crypto assets for a few months to sell and make a quick profit. The minority group inside the retail section are the ones that are holding for 5-year projections and 10-year projections. But the majority of the retail section will jump out of their positions naturally. And, these institutions don't care about, what the price is of an asset. If institutions see potential in an asset, the asset could be sitting at if they see a potential in any asset, that particular asset could be sitting at $500,000. They'll still be buying it, because they're looking at minimum 5-year, 10-year, 15-year, 20-year, 25-year projections for that asset to grow. So on the basis of essentially, the people that said we're going to be going to some sort of bear situations, those people lost, genuinely lost. They're the same people that were saying institutions will try to push you out of positions. Institutions will only buy $20,000 Bitcoins. No, because the facts will state otherwise. If you look at MicroStrategy's buying balance, the facts will state otherwise. As I said previously, institutions have a lot of money. People tend to forget that. People think that institutions are looking for bargains. They're not looking for bargains. They've never looked for bargains. They look at projections, not bargains. And if they see a projection, if they see an asset could do something somewhere down the line, they're into it, no matter what the price is. And they'll buy billions of dollars of it because they have money. Some people also tend to forget that one as well when it comes to institutions. Miles, do you think this bull run will be very short? People say, no, I read that one. Miles, Are you 100% confident? No, wait, there's one above, I think I didn't read. Yeah, as well, when you said a time ago, Miles, yes, I did, facts. Miles, are you 100% confident that XRP will hit 3 digits in 2025? Yes. Trump and the crew will push the way forward. Go crypto. Facts. When will regulations come out that we need for big price movements? Quarter 1, 2025. Quarter 2 is more likely, but quarter 1 could possibly see some movements happening as well. Look, movements are going to be happening quarter 1 as well. But quarter 2, quarter 3 is when you see a little bit more movement happening, quarter 2 and quarter 3. But quarter 1 is going to still be movements. First regulations after adoption. Facts. Which coin do you suggest? Which coins do I suggest? Financial category. XRP, XLM, XDC, ACH, HBAR. They're the financial category. They have all the licensings. The crypto projects I've just named pretty much XRP, XLM, XDC, HBAR, ACH. They all have licensings. They can all operate within a legal framework. They all have contracts in place. What you need on your end is money and patience. Not financial advice in any sort of a way. I would suggest reading up on any assets before you're going towards them. They say pure bull run will end of this year or maximum end January, and bull run say, and from there they expect only XRP after crash opinion. No, they're talking about the Ross. You said that earlier last year. You said that early last year. I said that. Facts. Miles, do you still believe that there is no more bear market even in 2026? There is bear market. As I said previously, there is bear market. Some crypto assets are going to do nothing on the regulations. That's when you're going to be seeing the market detaching itself. When the detaching happens is when you're going to be seeing that happening. So you'll be seeing Bitcoin doing well for itself because of the ETFs, ETH doing well because of the ETFs, and XRP doing well because it was being embedded into the financial system. And there is ETFs as well. It's 3 XRP ETFs right now in filings. So the market is still going to be going up and down, up and down, up and down. But it's just some assets will be doing better than others due to regulations in place, due to licensings and so on. So up and down is still going to be there for certain assets. And turbulence is always going to be there for every asset. If we go for geopolitical tensions, then turbulence is going to be there for everyone. If a war breaks out, a heavy war breaks out in the Middle East, then the market will obviously be impacted. So there are certain scenarios that can bring this market down. Always remember that. But those scenarios don't happen, and it's just regulations and license and so on, we're pretty much good to go. But manipulative scenarios and so on, turbulence, always consider as an outcome. Trump says USA no tax on crypto. What about Bitcoin in the US? Is it the USA? Trump says US cryptos no tax. What about Bitcoin? Is it the USA? Yes, Bitcoin's in the USA. And yes, he did say no tax. It's like gold, they storage, no one is selling. Yes, it's basically like gold, no one's selling. Brad and his attorney Stewart are trolling Gary Gensler bad. It is hilarious. Let's go, Snowy. Let's go, Brad, for doing that as well. That answer, Miles, was the fastest and the best yes I've ever heard from you. Let's go, Billo. Regarding 100%, sure that XRP it's 3 digit 25. Let's go, Billo. Good day, Miles. Mike, good to see you. How you doing, brother? You been? In this point, do you believe a crash coming XRP will rise from there, or do you believe more in a situation that XRP is going to rise without a crash? It could rise with or without a crash, to be fairly honest. I sent out a tweet a while ago, which I stated in that tweet. A lot of people, and I've reposted that tweet, but with a quote on top of it as well. I said, a lot of people, and I said this tweet on 07/10/2024. So that's what the date was of this tweet. 07/10/2024. And I said, a lot of people assume XRP is going to get left behind from this run, from this bull run. And I said, people tend to forget that the bull run we're heading towards is an institutional run. It's a regulation bull run. It's a licensing bull run. I said, not only is XRP not going to get left behind, but it's going to be poised to lead this bull run. And I also said, at the end of that, I said, not even Gary Gensler can stop what XRP is about to do. Not even Gary Gensler can stop what XRP is about to do. And what do you know? We fast forward. Gary Gensler is getting fired or he's resigning. XRP is doing well for itself. We're going into regulations. America is going to become the capital of cryptocurrencies. Banks are coming forward. Institutions are coming forward. I tweeted this tweet out before the presidency announcements, before the presidential elections, and so on. Before the announcements of America becoming the capital of cryptocurrencies, before there was ever announcements of Gary resigning or getting fired in an instance and so on. That's when I sent out that tweet. I said a lot of people are assuming that XRP is going to get left behind from this bull run, and I said a lot of people tend to forget that the bull run we're heading towards is essentially a regulation and institutional bull run. So not only is XRP not going to get left behind, but it's going to be poised to run the show. And not even, I said, Gary Gensler can stop what's about to happen. You fast forward now, look at it. Gary Gensler is about to be fired or resigning. America is about to become the capital of cryptocurrencies. We're going into regulations and licensing. Some banks and institutions getting involved. More XRP ETFs are happening. 3 XRP ETFs so far. So, as I've said previously, I've never been wrong. Maybe? No. I've never been wrong. Now, I honestly believe facts. Let's go dazzle. At this point, do you believe a crack? Oh, no, I read that already. I honestly believe that XRP starts going to pump before without a pump. But if regulations coming out quarter 2, that XRP's adoption will be fastest to start to quarter 3, 2025, right? Yeah, because the paperwork's pretty much done, so it's testing. Is that not a short-term timeline to hit $3 just in quarter 2? Well, I never said it's going to hit in quarter 2. I said it's going to hit in 2025. Long miles, I'm 72, and I'm holding crypto for the long term, but not too long, probably 3 years, and pass the rest on. You're perfectly fine, Butch. Don't worry about it. You're going to be good. I think you secretly shake hands with Elon and Trump. That's why you're on X. I will neither confirm or deny that. Now, X-Valkyrie is what we will talk about next. X-Valkyrie CEO, Leah Waltz, investment firm, buys essentially 4 validators, including Solana. You also shook hands with Brad. I also shook hands with Brad. I'm not going to be confirming or denying that either. So, stall strategies. Solana is being looked into by a X-Valkyrie CEO, which she has just made a purchase of. She sees big potential in Solana for nearly $80 million. Sol Strategies, a crypto investment firm led by Leah Waltz, the former boss and co-founder of Valkyrie Investments, brought 4 validators for nearly $18 million in cash and shares. The Toronto-based, essentially crypto firm, formerly known as the Cyberpunk Holdings, will buy the validators from Coin Crypto, a high-performance validator operating within Solana's ecosystem. According to a statement on essentially that came out today, the total value of investments in nearly $18 million broke into 3 tranches: $1 million cash and $1 million in company shares at its closing of the deal, and the rest distributed over 3 years in shares. Sol Strategies. The firm will buy validators of Solana, Sui, Monad, and Arch networks. With most dollars focused on Solana, validators are essentially entities that process transactions and help maintain the security of proof-of-stake blockchains, such as Solana and Ethereum, by staking or pledging certain amounts of the network's cryptocurrencies. Essentially, validators like miners on proof-of-work blockchains such as Bitcoin. Sol Strategies has been actively investing in the digital asset sector for several years and has various investments, including Aminico Brands. The company shifted its strategy from just investing in essentially digital assets to Solana, with exposures to indirectly participating staking rewards and Solana-based projects. The company recently said it holds about 113 million Solana, worth $32.2 million. Canadian dollars, or $22.9 million. The Solana network, which hosts numerous meme coins, has recently started to catch institutional interest as well. The Layer 1 blockchain saw many giant financial institutions such as Franklin Templeton, Citibank, and Societe Generale announce new Solana-based projects last September during a Breakpoint, the network's biggest yearly conference. This acquisition essentially will meaningfully expand Solana Strategies' staking capabilities, which underpins Solana's reputation as the next-generation blockchain for institutional and decentralized applications alike, said Lena Waltz, the CEO of Sol Strategies. The shares of the investment firm rose more than 900% this year, while Solana rose 113% according to TradingView data. So, a former ex-boss of Valkyrie, which is a big deal, owning her own company is going towards Solana. Their first investments were roughly $19 million to be a part of the Solana's ecosystem. That's great. If you're holding Solana, that's great news, honestly. Amazing news. Now, moving on from the ex-Valkyrie boss to the Trump-backed crypto project. Now, everybody's heard of the Trump crypto project, the World Liberty Financial Project. I'm personally not in that project, but full disclosure, I fully support Trump and whatever he does. He knows what he's doing, and he knows best, in my opinion. Now, Trump-backed, essentially, World Liberty Financial Project, except this project I'm not a big fan of. But anyways, Trump-backed World Liberty Financial Project embraces Chainlink to boost the DeFi data and cross-chain connectivity. So Trump's crypto project, his son's crypto project, is going to be operating on Chainlink. They've chosen Chainlink as the backbone, or one of the backbones. So Donald Trump-backed decentralized finance project, World Liberty Financials, said it would integrate a Coral Chainlink for on-chain data and cross-chain interoperability. In an official statement, the protocol said that tapping Chainlink's technology will allow its project to better integrate with the crypto ecosystem. The project, which essentially enjoys the support of the Trump and his sons, disclosed that it chose the decentralized Coral network because of its capabilities and its best solution for security in cross-chain connectivities and on-chain data issuance common to DeFi platforms. The protocol said, World Liberty Financial seeks to kick off the next wave of DeFi mass adoptions, and implementing the Chainlink standard will provide the World Liberty Financial community with the security and reliability it needs to succeed in this goal. With this adoption, World Liberty Financial essentially is a protocol that seeks to make DeFi more accessible through user-friendly tools and robust platforms, and it believes it can position itself as a leading platform for the next wave of DeFi adoptions. As a part of the first phase of Chainlink's adoption, World Liberty Financial intends to integrate Chainlink price feeds into the Ethereum mainnet, and Chainlink feeds is essentially in its infrastructure that provides an on-chain data for the most DeFi protocols. The World Liberty Financial intends to use for its planned essentially AVA v3 instances, depending on whether its community approves it. The project noted that Chainlink price feeds would provide all the reliable financial data needed for the AVA 3 instances to function operationally. According to the announcement, Chainlink has secured AVA markets for more than 5 years without any sort of issues, which is why World Liberty Financial tapped into it to make it the first DeFi app accessible on the platform. In the future, it intends to integrate other capabilities such as proof of reserves or real-world assets, cross-chain interoperability, and etc. World Liberty Financial's gold paper includes all these potential use cases for the DeFi protocol. Speaking at the adoption of the co-founder and Chainlink, Sergio noted that the protocol is widely used inside DeFi space, and he said, "We're excited to partner with World Liberty Financial on their data and cross-chain and all of the other essential Coral network needs. The Chainlink standard is already widely used by DeFi and will help World Liberty Financial attract users that value the security and reliability also." Meanwhile, Eric Trump, one of the Web3 ambassadors for World Liberty Financial, describes the adoption of Chainlink as a bullish sign for crypto and overall for the future of DeFi. So, Trump's crypto project has chosen Chainlink. So if you're in Chainlink, I mean, that's great news as well for anybody holding onto World Liberty Financial, and great news for Chainlink as well. It's not going to be adding value directly to Chainlink, but it will add indirectly value to Chainlink. It will bring more eyes on Chainlink inside the crypto sector. Now, moving on from Trump's crypto project to Cynthia Lummis, Senator Cynthia Lummis. She's been proposing Bitcoin reserves for the longest time. And then Trump said the exact same thing, which then she took upon herself to go through with it, to make a Bitcoin Act of 2024, Bitcoin reserves for the United States, and the United States get to essentially control 5% supply of Bitcoin. So, where is the United States supposed to get all this money from? Well, Senator Cynthia Lummis has suggested something. Senator Cynthia Lummis suggesting to sell Fed's gold to fund Bitcoin reserves. This is a Bloomberg report. According to the latest Bloomberg report, Republican Senator Cynthia Lummis of Wyoming has proposed to sell a part of the Federal Reserve's gold holdings to purchase 1 million Bitcoins for the creation of a street Bitcoin reserve. The senator and ally of Donald Trump has a plan for filling up the president's-elect proposed street Bitcoin stockpile and without essentially adding to the government debt. The bill calls for US to acquire 1 million Bitcoins, representing nearly 5% of the outstanding tokens. Cynthia Lummis essentially estimates this would cost around $90 billion based on the current prices. But the sum could rise if the market anticipates the government's involvements. It's true. If the news comes out, the US government is about to be selling off gold to buy Bitcoin, believe me, that Bitcoin is going to go skyrocketing up before the US begins to buy it. We already have the financial assets in the form of gold and certificates to convert it to Bitcoin, Senti Illuminist said in an interview with Bloomberg. So if the effect on the US balance sheet is pretty neutral, according to Senti Illuminist, the cryptocurrency will be held for a minimum of 20 years. Going back to what I said, institutions, governments, no matter what, they're always looking at projections. 20-year projections is what they're looking at right now. And presumed appreciation of value would help to reduce the national debt. Despite the industry's hopes that this will be the most crypto-friendly Congress ever, some market watchers believe that Illuminist's bill, which currently has no co-sponsors, faces an uphill battle. It's still putting government money on the line, and Bitcoin has not shown itself to be a politically essentially stable asset, noted Jennifer J., Director of Financial Regulations and Studies at Cato Institution's Center for Monitoring Financial Alternatives. She further added that the bill also asks senators and members of Congress who may not understand crypto that well to make a much bigger leap of faith in the terms of its long-term viability. Mike Novoscott, the CEO of Galaxy Digital, believes that there is a low essentially likelihood of US setting up a Bitcoin strategic reserve. However, if it does, Mike Novoscott predicts that this would push its price to $500,000, which definitely would. If the US is going to be sending off $90 billion worth of gold, $90 billion worth of gold, if they're going to do that and put that money into Bitcoin, then yes, we're definitely going to see the price of Bitcoin go to $500,000. Because one, it's them buying $90 billion. Two, it's the entire world going, hang on a minute, we're also going to be buying as well. Every government will be buying. If they hear the US is about to be investing $90 billion, they're going to be investing as well. MicroStrategy, believe it or not, he's going to be buying as well. Michael Saylor right now is raising $42 billion to buy more Bitcoin at these prices. $42 billion Michael Saylor is raising right now to buy in the next 2 years. From now, for 2 years, he's just raising money and buying. He's going to be raising a total of $42 billion. You have the US essentially maybe selling off $90 billion to buy Bitcoin. So if the news spreads of this actually happening, because right now it's just a plan, it's not been into motion yet, but it's a plan, then yes, the price of Bitcoin will easily touch, $500,000. Since other nations would feel compelled to create similar stockpiles. Definitely. Which also goes back to what I said about the other thing, where countries tend to, if the US does something inside the crypto space, other countries will follow it. If the US becomes the capital of crypto, brings out regulations and essentially licensings and banks, institutions and ETFs, then the rest of the world will follow. It's the biggest market space on the planet, which is what they're saying here as well. They're saying if the US does this, then every country is going to follow its footsteps. Senti Illuminist first unveiled her bill at the Bitcoin 2024 conference after Trump announced his ambition to create a government Bitcoin reserve. After a most anticipated Trump win, the Bitcoin market has surged massively, Bitcoin making newer highs above $93,000. Senti Illuminist is optimistic that her Bitcoin bill, short for boosting innovation, technology, and competitiveness through optimized investments nationwide, will gain support essentially in the next Congress. She noted that Trump has already endorsed the idea of a reserve, and his close cabinet advisors include people who understand Bitcoin and its role in the future. So there might be $90 billion sell-off to buy Bitcoin from the US. It's called the Bitcoin Act. It's not being put into full motion whatsoever, but it's an act they're discussing with Congress and senators that to sell off $90 billion to buy Bitcoin. They do that, the rest of the world is going to follow. Bitcoin will easily touch $500,000. Easily. No doubt about it. Now, moving off Senator Senti Illuminist's news about $90 billion Bitcoin Gold Act. 2. Tether. Tether is going to be introducing a new tokenization platform. It's going to be establishing in some countries, some jurisdictions around the world. So, Tether introduces Hadron. I don't know why some companies insist of making up random words. But Tether essentially is introducing Hadron. It's like hydrogen, but not. So Hadron, real-world asset tokenization platform. Stablecoin issuer Tether has revealed a real-world asset tokenization platform dubbed Hadron, which allows businesses and assets and managers and nation states to issue managed essentially digital assets and tokenizations for real-world asset financial instruments. According to Tether, users can tokenize stocks, bonds, stablecoins, loyalty points, and other real-world assets on the platform, which also features a robust Know Your Customer KYC and an anti-money laundering AML controls, Tether's CEO said. And he also said, while traditional financial institutions have always pushed for closed ecosystems that are opaque to such citizens, Hadron by Tether reinforces our commitment to building a more exclusive future. Hadron will also include a basket of collateralized products which allow nation states and corporations to issue digital assets and tokens for baskets of commodities or other real-world securities and assets. Baskets of commodities and fiat currencies have came under essentially renowned focus following the BRICS supernatural organizations proposed an overhaul of the International Monetary Fund special drawing rights essentially SDR, and international reserve assets compromised for collection of 5 fiat currencies. So, Tether introducing a new tokenization project named Hadron. Their big, bold speech was, why is tokenization only for the corporate section? Tokenization could be for everybody. That's what their big selling point is. Interesting enough, their tokenization project is only available to corporations. I think somebody from Tether needs to go back to the drawing board with their marketing team, because how is Tether's CEO putting out a slogan that, they're going to be going, tokenization should be for everybody. But then on the other hand, the project is only available to corporations. So how's it available to everybody? Not saying anybody was going to use Tether's tokenization project, because there are better ones out there. BNB, for one, has a very good tokenization project. But as I've said previously anyways, tokenization is only a good way to squeeze money out of the retail section. Tokenization is not what people assume it is in any sort of a way. If you're smart enough, you'll realize the bigger picture of tokenizations, which is crap. Awesome. I just realized one thing. So the bigger picture of tokenization is it's a new avenue stream for institutions to squeeze money out of the retail section, not really in any sort of a way for you to be making money tokenizations. If you want to make money on tokenizations, you got to go for the backbones of tokenization projects, not the tokenization project itself. Going for the tokenization project itself is a sucker move. If you want to be a sucker in that moment, then go for it. Sorry about that. But if you want to go, if you go for the tokenization project itself, you're just becoming a new avenue stream for institutions. Now, before we go for the next news, which is regarding the matters of VanEck and their new prediction on Bitcoin, with new report that they released today, let's consider the comment section first. As I said, this is a live, which means if you do have any questions, put it down in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. The world needs XRP for cheap and fast cross-border payments that will keep the world turning. No, I mean, if adoption starts in Q3, this means that in 2025, XRP has 2 quarters left to hit 3 digits. Is that not a short time? No, it's not a short time frame. Or will XRP's adoption start in Q3 2025? Well, time will tell. Share the live. Good stuff. Let's go, Scott. Ian says New York City to be the first city in America and the US to have congestion charge. Congestion charge is the worst thing ever. We have congestion charge in the UK. Hopefully, bye-bye Gary Gensler tomorrow, hopefully. Miles, Tether has been minting tokens to put into the crypto markets, especially to buy Bitcoin. What will happen to Bitcoin if Tether has problems? If Tether has problems, what will happen to Bitcoin? It will tumble slightly. It could tumble it could tumble quite bad as well, to be fairly honest. But the ETFs will help Bitcoin stand in its place. If they sell off our gold, then the dollar will be worthless. Well, the point is, they're going to be backing the... Well, first of all, the dollar is not backed by a gold standard. The gold standard was taken off a very long time ago. The US owed a lot of money to the UK and a lot of money to other countries a very long time ago. And the UK came to, get its money back from the US. But because the US was operating on a gold standard, they couldn't afford to pay the money back to the UK. So they removed the gold standard from the US and backed it by some other, essentially the war scenarios. And then they started printing, which made them to, able to pay back the UK. So in other sense, it's not backed by technically only by the gold, to be fairly honest, because the gold standard doesn't exist for a very long time. Miles, I miss your OG background from TikTok. Bill, let's go. 3 digits for XRP, you mean over 100? No, Butch thingy. Bill was talking about $3. Now, VanEck projects Bitcoin's price target of $180,000 in bullish moments. So VanEck has came out with a new report stating that Bitcoin's price should be reaching somewhere around 180,000 now, heading towards that. In a remarkable week for the cryptocurrency market space, VanEck, a prominent asset manager with $100 billion in assets under management, has set an ambitious Bitcoin price target of $180,000 for this market cycle. The leading cryptocurrency recently reached an all-time high of $93,000, and buoyed by the news of Donald Trump's victory in 2024 US presidential elections. Matthew, the head of digital research at VanEck, expressed optimism during an interview with CNBC, stating that Bitcoin is just getting started. He categorized essentially the current market conditions as blue sky territory, indicating that there are no significant technical barriers hindering the further price increases, except geopolitical tensions that could possibly happen. The past week has proven transformative for the cryptocurrency sector, particularly for Bitcoin, despite the strong performance throughout 2024. The asset's bullish momentum intensified following the recent presidential elections, and although it has seen some pullbacks from its peak, Bitcoin remains robust, having gained over 35% in value over the past month. According to CoinMarketCap, the trading volume has been impressive, surpassing $111 billion in just one day. VanEck's analysts are confident that Bitcoin's upward trajectory will continue, by Matthew predicting that the cryptocurrency will achieve essentially a repeated all-time highs in the upcoming 2 quarters. He noted that the current market dynamics mirror patterns seen 4 years ago, reinforcing the cynical nature of Bitcoin's bull runs. With expectations that Bitcoin will exceed the $100,000 mark well before Trump's inauguration in January, the outlook for this digital asset remains extraordinarily bright moving forward, which is all true. All true. Now, moving off essentially VanEck's reports that Bitcoin could reach those price points sooner than people assume, to Pennsylvania is what we'll talk about next. Any more XRP news? Yes, towards the end. Good night, Miles. I've got an early start at Funky Brother. See you tomorrow, but same time as usual. Thanks, Miles. No problem, Ian. Now, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is proposing a Bitcoin reserve to recognize Bitcoin's value. A new legislation in Pennsylvania could make it among the first states inside the United States to hold Bitcoin on its balance sheets as a reserve asset in Pennsylvania. The bill introduced by the Pennsylvania House of Representatives seeks to officially recognize the value of Bitcoin as a means of storing wealth and to promote the broader mainstream adoption of BTC in the financial reserves. The legislation thereby falls in line with the global trend whereby governments and institutions are increasingly recognizing the increased value of cryptocurrencies as a reserve asset. Complementing the Pennsylvania proposal, former US President Donald Trump has commented on increasing US Bitcoin reserves as well if he's elected again, which he has been now. He promised not to let the government sell BTC and instead vowed to add more Bitcoin to strengthen, which as Centillion has proposed as well. And according to Fox reporter Ella Tarrant, this is joining a policy from a state and federal interest and somewhat changed perspectives towards digital assets within a framework of national state finance. So Trump has not even taken his seat yet, and already we're getting some changes. Pennsylvania is thinking about adding Bitcoin to its reserves. A lot of countries are making some changes, and states are making changes, and so on. A lot of companies are changing methods as well. Everybody's becoming pro-crypto, and we haven't even reached January 20th yet. Now, moving on from Pennsylvania doing this incredible movement to another incredible movement, which also goes back to what I said. With the US becoming capital of cryptocurrencies, everybody's going to follow their footsteps. Every country on this planet is going to follow their footsteps. And here is one of them. For example, the UK. The UK is aiming to regulate stablecoins with new crypto laws, staking, and services essentially exempt. Sorry about that. Bitcoin is planning new legislations to regulate stablecoins. Britain is planning new legislations to regulate stablecoins like Tether and USDC and to exempt staking services in a move to make the country more attractive for crypto investors. Earlier this week, crypto exchange BitGet also relaunched its platform in the UK with 150 tokens. The British government wants to put into force crypto regulations by December. Just to point that one out, the UK said a very long time ago they want to become the capital of cryptocurrencies. They said that a very long time ago and did nothing about it. All of a sudden comes Trump. He's the next president of the United States. He makes these speeches, he makes these announcements, he makes these rules that crypto will stay, that capital of crypto is the United States, and so on. And what does the UK do? Make this announcement essentially, that the UK is going to be coming out with regulations by the end of December. This year, by the end of this year, the UK is going to have regulations in place for cryptocurrencies. Obviously, they're going to be pushing regulations out by the end of this year. They're going to get the majority of correct regulations out this year, but the rest will be coming out next year as well. But what it's doing is making countries move faster. And it just keeps on going back to what I said. The UK Treasury is amending the existing rules to exempt crypto stakings from financial regulations and focus on stablecoins. Staking is a process where crypto investors look up tokens to earn rewards. Britain is looking to essentially reclassify and to prevent it from getting tagged into collective investments and schemes, which comes under heavy regulations. This comes at a time when the US has elected Donald Trump as the new president, and he's trying to position the country as a global crypto hub. Do you see where this is going? Trump becomes president, global hub cryptocurrencies, United States, the world follows it. And people think that we're going to be ending into a bear market January. Trump's essentially promise of creating a Bitcoin reserve and to make it all future BTC mining happen inside the US, which can force crypto startups in Britain to relocate. Hence the urgency in launching new crypto laws. You see what's happening now. With the US aiming to become a crypto hub, obviously the UK is going to lose business. That's another reason why a lot of jurisdictions are going to be moving faster as well. Because one, they don't want to get left behind, and two, they will lose business if they don't move fast enough. As per the plan, Britain is trying to toe the line, adapt by essentially other jurisdictions, and that's why it wants to modify its stablecoin regions and cryptocurrency regulations. Other countries have already put forward regulatory proposals regarding the matters like the EU's marketing crypto assets MiCA regulations, and the UK is simply trying to catch up. If Britain grants stablecoins like Tether and USDC e-money statuses, then fintech companies looking to do transactions in these two regions have to compare the MiCA regulations by the EU and the UK's crypto laws. When the much anticipated legislation comes into force, the UK's financial regulators, the Financial Conduct Authority, the FCA, will get the authority to create stablecoin regulations. The new regulations also seeks to redefine how crypto staking is regulated in the UK and is likely to be taken out of preview of traditional essentially investment schemes to avoid examination. If the FCA is planning to launch a roadmap to outline its phase-wise approach towards stablecoin regulations and other crypto laws. However, the exact such a timeline of this isn't clear, but they're stating by the end of the year. Speaking about the matter, the UK Justice Minister said the owners need to be shielded from fraud and ownership essentially disputes should be streamlined. Alexandra made these essential remarks when she proposed that the cryptocurrencies should be recognized as personal property in the UK. Earlier this year, the essentially Tory government, led by then UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, outlined objectives of new crypto regulations, including a one stablecoins regulation, making the UK a global pioneer in the crypto world. However, under the new Labour government, led by Keir Starmer, crypto regulations has taken a step back. It's true. But the UK now is moving a few steps forward, you could even say. Yeah, it just keeps on going back to what I keep on saying. US going pro-crypto, going full crypto mode, makes the rest of the world go full crypto mode with regulations, banks, institutions, so on, and position yourselves correctly. If you're positioned well in a crypto project that is poised to do well with banks, institutions, and regulations, you're good to go. If you're positioned incorrectly inside of a regulation space, inside of banks, institution space, and governmental space, and you're pretty much done for inside of crypto space. Americans are waiting. Act now. CMIC urges US Congress to legislate crypto assets. For example, this one. The Crypto Market Integrity Coalition called on Congress to establish a national regulatory framework for digital assets before current legislative session ends. So if the UK is actually doing that, and now going back to the US. In a letter dated today and seen by essentially news reporters, CMIC urged Congress to foster a compliance mindset towards crypto, emphasizing that delays leave consumers unprotected and discourage innovation inside the United States. The letter message to Congress urged that consumers remain vulnerable to bad actors without regulations, and American firms will lose ground to international competitors who benefit from cleaner regulatory environments abroad. The CMIC's letter points out that while countries like the EU and Japan have adapted digital asset frameworks, the US is lacking clarity. The CMIC is a group of 55 digital asset companies, including Coinbase, Robinhood, and Circle. One of CMIC's main priorities was creating a regulatory framework around payment stablecoins. Stablecoins are cryptocurrencies designed to maintain a stable value, often pegged to the US dollar, and were widely used for transactions within the digital economy. The CMIC urged the formal rules on stablecoins could promote the US dollar's use in global crypto markets, offering both economic and security benefits. The letter pointed out that clearer stablecoin regulations would help reduce the fraud risk while enabling American consumers and businesses to use stable digital assets more confidently. The coalition also highlighted that the previous regulations by enforcement approach from the SEC, where agencies took action only after harm that occurred, created an unstable environment. This reactive approach led to gaps, essentially where unregulated crypto firms openly, freely, potentially exposing US customers to fraud or financial losses, the letter urged. The lack of congressional action has left the US relying solely on regulations by enforcements. This has sent a powerful signal to the market manipulators and offshore unregulated crypto firms that successful penetration of the fraud and market misconducts is the only matter of staying one step ahead of the US law enforcement. Crypto market integrity and correlations. The CMIC's letter urged members to adapt to a current Baptist digital asset proposal in Congress and distribute regulatory responsibilities among different governmental agencies, supporting security and compliance within the crypto industry. Americans are waiting. We encourage you to heed the call of millions of Americans to act now. Missing the opportunity to legislative would be a mistake and would be noticed essentially at our home and abroad. CMIC and its members stand steady to serve as a resource on behalf of the regulated and responsible American industry. So that was a letter that was sent out by the Crypto Market Integrity Coalition to essentially Congress to move faster with regulations, a lot more faster. And the CMIC are a group of 50 companies inside the crypto space, and one of those companies essentially being Coinbase and Circle and Robinhood and so. So these are massive companies. 50 companies have come together, created the CMIC, and they sent a letter to Congress saying, we're all there for you. If you want to help, we can help you process regulations faster, come up with IDs and so on to get the ball rolling. Yeah, we're going into regulations sooner than you think. Position yourself correctly. Now, there is a new study that came out from VanEck Capital. So here's the study. New study predicts XRP could reach up to $22,000 with global adoption. A recent study by VanEck Capital suggests XRP's value could rise between $3,500 and $22,000. Depending on its global adoption, analyst Jimmy Volley examined XRP's potential as a key asset for future financial systems. So this study is coming from their own institution, from their own company. Using 6 models, they estimate XRP's value based on its use in transactions and as long-term store of value. The study applies 6 valuations and models to calculate XRP's future worth based on different financial conditions. Each model provides a unique view of how XRP's adoption could affect its price. In one scenario, XRP reaches $22,000 if XRP, essentially Ledger, becomes the main protocol for global payments. So there are 6 scenarios of how we can reach certain price points. The first scenario is essentially if XRP is the main protocol, essentially global ledger for payments, XRP can reach $22,000. Another optimistic view even estimates XRP at $122,000 or more if adoption becomes widespread. $122,000. One model assumes XRP will handle 10% of the worldwide transactions by 2030. And places its value at, so XRP is going to be handling 10% of the world's transactions its value should be sitting around $4,813 in this situation. However, this excludes XRPs held in escrow, emphasizing how supply affects its price. As a result, the rate of adoption is critical in determining XRP's future values. The study uses several models to determine XRP's potential, considering different financial situations and global liquidity. For instance, the Affy and Mitch-Hinnick model set XRP's value at $9,000 if global liquidity hits 1 quadrillion. In contrast, the value falls to $4,800 per XRP, a 530 trillion liquidity scenario. Additionally, Backer's pipeline flow model examines XRP's role in cross-border payments, estimating a minimum value of $3,500. Collateralization models also factor into analysis as well, suggesting that XRP could be worth $12,200 if fully backed and $1,222 with 10% collateral used. Meanwhile, discontinued cash flow models calculate XRP's value at $21,900 using a 3% discount rate. These models highlight XRP's diverse potential in finance, ranging from transaction utility to storage value. The report indicates a median value of $12,822 across models, with an average around $61,231. Most estimates in clusters between $3,500 and $22,000, hinting at an XRP's varied financial role. With these projections in mind, could XRP transform global finance? The report also releases and aligns with regulatory shifts inside the US after Donald Trump's elections. This report from this company came out because of Donald Trump becoming president of the United States, and they're estimating on him becoming president of the United States, regulations, licensing, banks, institutions, the world goes crypto, and this is the scenario. Companies like Ripple anticipate favorable changes as Trump plans to replace SEC Chairman Gary Gensler, potentially affecting Ripple's ongoing legal challenges and XRP's broader adoption. So, this is a report from a company that's just came out, and yeah, they're estimating the range you're looking at is $3,500. They're saying it's more likely to be between per XRP $3,500 to $22,000. The highest they came up with was $122,000 per XRP. Now, to a lot of people listening, that might sound incredibly ridiculous, but it isn't. And just to point out, it's not overnight in any sort of a way. It's not overnight in any sort of a way. It's a time process period. So what the report is stating is from now until 2030. From now until 2030 is what they're estimating these prices. But here's the thing. It's not going to be 2030 comes around and then now, boom, it's $22,000. No. For it to reach, for example, $22,000, or for it to reach $122,000, it has to show progress starting slowly, 2025, 2026, and then so on. And then you're going to be seeing price going up and up and up. It's not 2030 reaches, boom, straight up. So it's a progressive type of situation. So you'll be seeing, $10, $100, $150, $200, $500, $1,000, and so on and so on and so on as time goes by. Now, some people might listen to this company's reports and say, well, that's just ridiculous. That's not going to be possible. If XRP is, $22,000, or if XRP is $3,000, $3,500 is the lowest they estimated it at. If XRP is $3,500, I would have, for example, some people would say $100 million. And people would say, well, that's just ridiculous. I'm not going to be having $100 million. Because when you tell someone, your XRP is going to be reaching a certain price point, what I always say is consider variable change. Always consider variable change. But here's the thing. When you tell someone, XRP is going to reach a certain price point, everybody always runs to the calculator. Everybody runs to the calculator and they put the amount of XRP they have in their portfolios into the calculator, and then they times it by $1,000 or times it by XRP in their price point, $3,500, and the answer for that is it'll say $100 million. So you would look at the calculator after adding your XRP and adding the amount it could reach to, and you look at the calculator and go, well, I can't have $100 million. That's not even possible. And the reality of it is, yes, there is no way the majority of people having $100 million, because what is the chances of you holding on, for example, until $3,500? Because it's not going to be overnight. when it does reach certain price points, it's not going to be, today it's 80 cents and tomorrow it's $1,000. It's going to be a progressive type of scenario. So that's what the issue lies in. A lot of people will just add it in the calculator, look at the calculator and go, well, I can't have $100 million. And most likely you won't have, because the chances of you holding on until $3,500 is slim. So you're never going to be possibly seeing $100 million. The majority of people won't. The majority of people will be jumping out of XRP at $5, $10 max. The majority of the retail section will be jumping out of XRP at $10. Never mind $3,500. Or the majority, whatever is left, will be jumping out of, $50 or $100. They're out fully. So every time someone says to you, XRP, $3,500, look, anything's possible. Always remember that anything's possible. There's too much money in this world. There's too much money. There's too much tokenization that needs to happen. So anything's possible. Always consider variable change. Always consider variable change. Now, but that's what the issue lies in. You tell someone XRP will reach $1,000, they'll run to the calculator, they'll put their XRP wallet in the calculator, they'll times it by 1,000, they go, well, that's not possible. I'll have $100 million. And it isn't. Because you'll probably be jumping out $10. So you're never going to see that price. It's possible. It's just you won't probably reach. Not saying you probably might not, but the majority of people won't. The majority of people, whatever's left, will be jumping out, $50 stretching it. $50 stretching it. Never mind $1,000 or $3,500. But that is a report from a company. But that's what the issue lies. When you tell someone, $1,000 or $3,500 or so on, they say, well, that's ridiculous. It's never going to happen. How can everybody have $100 million? Because that's what everyone assumes. Everybody will go, well, how can I have $100 million and she would have $100 million and he would have $100 million? How can everybody have $100 million? XRP is never going to reach that price. And the reality of it is, neither one of you would have $100 million, because all of you will probably be jumping out at $10 max. You'll never see $100. You could if you hold on, but the reality of it is most people won't. So that's the standpoint some people stand on. It's ridiculous. How can everybody have 100 million? Everybody won't. So you're assuming that everybody's going to hold on until $3,500? Hell no. That's what the ridiculous part is at. Not the price of XRP. The price of XRP is not ridiculous in any sort of a way. The ridiculous part is you assuming everybody's going to hold on until $3,500. That's the ridiculous part. Because in reality, they won't. So nobody's going to be seeing that unless you hold on. Now, the smartest move always is, in my opinion, for myself, is to borrow against my assets, use them as collateral, don't pay tax. Completely legal. That means I can take my XRP, for example, to HSBC Bank, use it as collateral, and borrow against it. I pay zero tax, small banking fee, sure, but I pay zero tax. And then I use that money I get borrowing against my XRP on whatever I want. That brings some sort of income to pay back the loan. And when I pay back the loan to the bank, I get my XRP back. And I can go to the bank again, put it down as collateral, and borrow against it. So which means I never lose my asset, which is XRP, which keeps on growing in value. And I can always borrow against it and skip tax. It's the best way. Now, on the topic of XRP reaching certain price points, one of Europe's most established banks makes an important move for XRP. Societe Generale Forge, SG Forge, has announced plans to deploy its MiCA compliant Euro stablecoin on the XRP ledger in 2025. According to an official blog post, the move to XRP ledger following successful deployments on Ethereum and Solana is a part of SG Forge's mission to promote scalability and secure and low-cost digital asset solutions, and Ripple custody will strengthen the integration by providing near-instant payments, robust security, and cost-effective transactions. Another thing that Ripple has an edge over every other crypto asset is it provides a custody service, high-grade institutional custody service that is hack-proof pretty much. Because the biggest issue for banks and companies joining the digital space is hack. The last thing they want is to get hacked. Imagine JP Morgan joins the crypto space and they get compromised, and so on. So that's the worst that could possibly happen to those scenarios. Ripple is the only company that's providing, and they didn't build it by themselves. They built it alongside IBM and HSBC and Medica. But Ripple's the only one providing a high-grade institutional grade custody wallet for banks and institutions. It's the highest grade possible. It's pretty much hack-proof. And that is why Society General is thinking XRP Ledger 2025 Euro stablecoin under MiCA regulations. The XRP Ledger, a decentralized layer 1 blockchain, has proven track record of over $2.8 billion in transactions processed since 2012 and over 5 million active wallets. Deploying essentially CV on the XRP Ledger 2025 complements our multi-blockchain strategy by providing cost efficiency and security, said the Chief Revenue Officer at Society General Forge. Our vision, this is what he also said as well. Our vision is to drive transparency and innovation in the digital asset space. And the speed and scalability of the XRP Ledger supports this mission. Ripple X Senior Vice President Marcus Infringer explained that the importance of adding Euro CV to the XRP Ledger. This is what he said from Ripple. Trusted bank-grade stablecoins like URCV are essential for enterprise use cases, including payments. Ripple's solution leverages stablecoins, XRP, and other digital assets to deliver faster, more reliable, and cost-effective cross-border payments. The inclusion of this trusted asset like URCV also increases transactions through output and enhances the ecosystem for developers and applications on the XRP Ledger. So both Ripple is happy about this. Ripple is very happy about this. And so is Society General. They're also happy about this. So one of Europe's most established banks is making a very important move on the XRP Ledger. 2025 Euro stablecoin under MiCA regulations, XRP Ledger. Now, those prices for XRP are not out the picture in any sort of a way. I've said this and I'll say it again. As I said previously, if you are not positioned correctly, we're going towards regulations, we're going towards licensings, we're going towards banks, we're going towards institutions. America is about to lead the way, the rest of the world is going to follow. Trump hasn't even taken his presidency seat yet, and the world is already starting to follow. The UK is bringing out regulations by the end of this year. The UK was moving so slow, I didn't even know if the UK was in the race for cryptocurrencies. But somehow it's came back in the race, and it's trying to bring out regulations by the end of the year. So the world is following America's footsteps now, which is blockchain, which is regulations, which is banks, which is institutions, which is tokenizations, which is CBDCs, and so on. Position yourself correctly or get left behind. It's very simple. Choose crypto projects that will benefit you with regulations coming, banks coming, and institutions coming, and governments coming in the picture. If you choose a crypto project that goes against regulations, that goes against licensing, that goes against institutions, that goes against governments and banks, then you're on the wrong side of this. You need to choose a crypto project that is going to be benefiting you from the regulations coming in, that's going to benefit you from the banks coming in, that's going to benefit you from the institutions coming in, that's going to benefit you from the governments coming in. Don't go against those people, because you just end up losing money. It's a losing battle. And yes, nobody likes a centralized system, but unfortunately, it's something you can't stop. So it's either benefit from whatever system we're going to be having, or get left behind. I choose to benefit all the time. There's no way in hell I'm getting left behind. Now, all good things must come to an end, which they did right now. This was the endings of tonight's episode of the CMF Live. This was episode 204 of the CMF Live. We're on episode 204 right now, which is incredible. Honestly, thank you so much to everybody that's been watching since episode 1 until now. Episode 204. Incredible. So, if you're watching this for the first time ever, my name is Miles. I go by the persona of Crypto Miles, and this is the CMF Live. It stands for Crypto Miles Family. On this live, you can tune in every single night where I talk about the most recent things that's happening around the world in terms of cryptocurrencies, CBDCs, AI, politics, regulations, vital information for you to know about regarding the world completely transforming into a digital space. My background is in finance, business, law, and cybersecurity, if you're wondering what my background is. And everything I do is completely free source inside the crypto space, completely free source. Join, if you haven't already, if you watch us on X, and if you have already, thank you so much for everyone that's retweeted this live, who's liked this live, who's followed me on X, and watch us on YouTube as well, like this live and subscribe. Thank you so much. If you haven't already, subscribe, follow, retweet, comment, share, and tune in every single night. And tune in tomorrow for episode 205 of the CMF Live. And we also have our own Telegram group, which is completely free. Anybody's more than welcome to join it. It's on my X profile and on my YouTube as well, on the bio. And we also have our own X community page for this live, also free. Everything I do is completely free source. It's called the CMF, the Crypto Mouse Family Lounge, the CMF Lounge. Join it if you already haven't. Amazing place to be in. But yeah, today was just exceptionally great news. Thanks, Miles. No problem, Ian. What? 3,500, 22,000. OMG. Let's go, Stormy. I have to go, Miles. Thanks, Legend, for the news and your insights. Night and day to all CMF. Shelly, see you tomorrow, same time as usual. What time scale? Let's say year 2030. I'm married to my XRP till death do our part. Let's go, Mike. 5K to 10K by 2027. Would you say so? Possible. We don't have to jump out. We can borrow against and keep raising the payment interest out of the funds. Yes, you can. So, Miles, I think we could have some billionaires within our CMF with your guidance and your patience you have installed in all of us. That's just with one company by 2030. Exactly. Take care of Free Let's go. Take care, Miles and CMF. Ray, see you tomorrow, brother, same time as usual. Great live, brother. Come on, let's go. See you tomorrow, same time as usual. Good night, Miles and CMF. Thank you so much for the news and another great live. JP, see you tomorrow, brother, same time as usual. Thank you, Miles, and good night. Butch, see you tomorrow, brother, same time as usual. Good night, Miles and CMF. Ghost Runner, see you tomorrow, same time as usual. We appreciate you, Miles. Have a lovely night, and to you, your family, sweet dreams. Lena, let's go. See you tomorrow, same time as usual as well. Stormy, thanks, Miles. Have a great night. See you, Stormy, tomorrow, same time as usual. Thanks, Miles, as always. Ghost Runner, see you tomorrow, same time as usual as well. Good night, CMF. Let's go, Stormy. Good night, Miles and CMF. Thanks for the fantastic news. Free Velvet, let's go. See you tomorrow, same time as usual. Good show, Miles. Good night, everyone. Orphan, see you tomorrow, same time as usual. This has been a great live tonight, Miles. Thank you very much. Good night, all. Troy, thanks so much for the kind words. I will see everybody tomorrow. If you haven't, follow, subscribe, like, comment, share, retweet. That's the only thing I ask in return. Nothing else. I never ask you for money, not even once. But if you enjoy the lives, retweet, comment, share, and subscribe, and follow if you already haven't. Sleep well, Miles and family. Many thanks for your help and everything you do for us. All thanks again. You do tomorrow. Let's go, Ian. See you tomorrow, same time as usual, brother. I will be seeing everybody tomorrow, same timing as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. Right? See you tomorrow, brother, same time as usual. I see everybody tomorrow, same time as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you're around the world. CMF, see you tomorrow, same time as usual.